All right, and we're live. How's everyone doing today? Let's get a quick mic check. Can you hear me fine? Is the audio okay? Are you seeing the video all okay as well? I want to give a quick shout out to a guy in the comment section today called Twin, because he's just come from Twitter. So thank you for joining us today from Twitter. I've never announced a live stream on Twitter over the past year probably, but today was the day. So let's get straight into this. We've got a lot to talk about in this one, and Bitcoin, let's just wait for these mic checks, everyone to tell me the audio is okay. But Phil in the comments, smash up the like button, you lazy shits. I'm not going to insult you guys, but let's smash up that like button if we can. And yeah, it's been a big day for Bitcoin over here, because we were trading in this pennant and we ended up breaking it. We've dumped now thousands of dollars below this bullish pattern in the market. We're looking at unilaterally, that's not the right word, we're looking at unanimous agreement across the entire space right now that for the most part that Bitcoin is going to end up dipping way lower. And guys, it's really important to take into consideration that when everybody is in agreement that the price is going to move in one direction, whether that direction is upwards or downwards, when everyone is in agreement that the price is going to do something, it does that thing, right? Like, this is something really important to keep in mind, because everyone wants to be a contrarian. It's edgy, it's fun, it makes you think you'll be better than the next guy. But realistically, ladies and gents, when everyone agrees on what's going to happen, look at this, we broke above $20,000. Everyone agreed that Bitcoin would pump through the bloody sky if that happened. Who would want to sell Bitcoin at these levels, right? And so we see Bitcoin flying upwards. So when everyone's in agreement that something is going to happen, it happens really quickly, really intensely, and that's what we're looking at today. And so there's a lot of price targets way lower down. You guys know what mine are, but I'm going to go into that in just a second. There's pretty catastrophic price action across the entire market today. Bitcoin down by nearly 11%, Ethereum down by nearly 14%, and Cardano down by 2% against Bitcoin. Bitcoin is already down 11%, so Cardano getting destroyed today. Link getting absolutely wrecked as well, just right back down, fulfilling that head and shoulders pattern that I told you about. So there is a lot to go into in this video. I'm going to be telling you what my plans are in this market, the next trades I'm looking to take, the precautions I've been taking, how they paid off, what I would be doing right now if I was in the market, what I'd be doing if I wasn't in the market. There's a lot I'm going to be covering in this one, so let's smash up those likes. If you're new to this channel, definitely subscribe as well to make sure that you don't miss out on the content we're going to be bringing on this channel. And then as I go along, please do drop your questions in the comment section and tag me with @FORFLIES just like that, so that I can actually see your comments. So let's get straight into the core analysis of this video. And Bitcoin did end up dumping out of this bullish channel, which could also be drawn as a descending channel, which we did in the last video right here. We dumped out of both of them and it invalidated the bullish patterns that Bitcoin had. And that's usually what would happen with this kind of pattern, so it didn't take us by surprise. However, Bitcoin recently, it has traded in these kind of patterns many times and just pumped upwards out of them. So this bucks that trend, but broadly speaking, this is not something that should take us by surprise, because that's what this descending channel will tell us. It tells us that the resistance keeps sloping downwards, meaning the bears gather more strength over time and the bulls are only holding the same level. So they ended up falling, and it's pretty bad. Just like last time, it's pretty bad today as well, in my opinion. And crucially, you know, what we need to keep in mind is that just over the past 2 days, we're down by 20%. Look at this, right? So from high to low, down by 20% in just the past 2 days, 15% down today only if you measure it from the highs down to the lows. And that definitely means that the bears are getting stronger. And that doesn't take us by surprise, because one of the key things I mentioned in the last video is that we already broke this level and we were spending more time at these support areas, right? So a lot of the time when we're trading in these kind of patterns, what I'll start showing you guys is I'm going to draw a midpoint. I didn't do this for this particular pattern, but I show you this quite a lot of the time. I draw a midpoint, and simply, it's not technical at all, it's not scientific at all, but I just want to see how much time are we spending below the middle of this pattern, so anywhere around over here, versus how much time are we spending above the middle line. And in this case, we did start to get a lot more bias towards the downside. We did start to trade a lot more towards the downside of this pattern, which is just yet another hint of basically saying exactly the same thing as a descending triangle, where the price keeps getting compressed to the downside and then breaking downwards. And so we have a situation here, and this is what's really concerning. This is the reason that this is potentially disastrous, in my opinion, is we do have a situation here now where actually the the support areas that we have for Bitcoin on this chart, they could be turning into resistance. And if we're looking at support turning into resistance, that means that this very, very short-term downtrend, obviously technically now we are in a downtrend. If we are starting to get support turning into resistance, that means that these short-term downtrends could be turning into mid-term downtrends, which obviously have the potential to turn into long-term downtrends. And so this is something that I need to be keeping an eye on very, very closely, because if we are starting to get a situation where the short-term flips bearish and then the mid-term becomes bearish and different things like that, I do think that's going to be a really, really big problem in this market. So that's something for me to keep an eye on. And actually, to show you what that looks like, if I show you this Ichimoku Cloud on the 4-hour time frame right now, when it's green, it basically represents support, and it's nearly flipped. In fact, it technically has flipped now into resistance and then back into support. But it's at neutral levels right now. It was previously quite firmly, quite clearly bullish for us, but it has now failed, and that's the first time in a very, very long time that this indicator has failed, going back to like October. So this is like 4 months now that this indicator has served us very, very well, but it has now flipped into resistance, which is concerning because it means that on the way back up, we could be hitting these areas and struggling to break them. And that is something that I'll talk about later on in this live stream as well. I'm saving that content for a little bit later, so do stick around. Once again, if we can shoot up those likes, because I am absolutely pumped up for this live stream today. There's a lot I'm going to be talking about. I see some people talking about Fibonacci retracements and different things like that, so don't worry, I'm going to get to all of that in just a bit. But right here, breaking down from this descending channel, potentially seeing very, very big drops, and also seeing our indicators now starting to flip from bullish to bearish, which is a sign that we could be stuck in this kind of downtrend. But I have to make something very clear to you, which is that I'm still not worried about this. You know, I still absolutely have no concerns about what's going on in this chart at the moment, because Bitcoin right now is following something very, very similar to what it did in 2017. And it's the same pattern I've kept showing you guys. Actually, if you've been watching this video over this channel over the past few months, you'll notice that I've made a lot of comparisons with 2017 on this channel lately, and every single one of them have been absolutely correct. And actually, the most notable comparison I was making with 2017 was right over here, where I was predicting the all-time high breakout. And look, I got to be honest with you guys, it was very easy to predict that breakout because nothing else could have happened. It was just statistically the most probable thing to happen when we approached 20k. But the way we predicted it and the way we were able to position ourselves inside of this channel, VIP members, people inside the FORFLIES Gold group, which is completely free by following the first link in the description, the way we were able to position ourselves because of the analysis I shared was very, very advantageous. And so doing the same thing yet again, we formed a very, very similar descending triangle pattern in 2017 in June, pushing into August, where Bitcoin kept hitting new all-time highs. This was at the $3,000 level, so 10 times lower than where we are right now. We kept on hitting all-time highs, and then we just suddenly entered a very short-term bear market, which only lasted about a month, but it ended up breaking down and really terrifying people. And so that's what we're seeing right now, ladies and gentlemen, because right now we do have a situation where the market ended up rallying very, very high from the previous all-time high that we had, which was right over here. We ended up rallying very, very high. We entered a short-term downtrend, and we've broken support. So, you know, as far as things we can do that look scary and that look like disaster, we've done them in this chart. And the thing is, we did it already before over here, and obviously it looks so insignificant. So we've had the same characteristics before, and this is really important, because if you know what these characteristics are, then you're able to notice them and you're able to pick up on them before they become a problem for you, and that means you're able to, potentially trade them and make some money off them. And so, you know, we've been around with the FORFLIES team for many, many years now, and collectively quite a long time, probably longer than Bitcoin's been around. And so, you know, these kind of patterns are easy to spot out for us, and we do have a situation here where we're doing exactly the same thing, just as a characteristic that Bitcoin has done before. And if you know what these characteristics are, then you also know that Bitcoin does tend to repeat these characteristics quite often inside these markets. And so this is something that is quite easy to pick up on as well, in my opinion. And so if we zoom right back in, we do have a situation here where the investors that bought after we crossed $20,000 are obviously in a bit of a panic mode right now, because they've seen Bitcoin go from 42,000 now down to 30,000. They thought that this would just be the standard recovery, but it's not, and we've ended up dipping potentially down to 30,000 again, and potentially even lower. And so we are definitely looking at a state of panic in this market. And the thing is, you know, since we already hit this level before, I'm just going to remove these lines now. Since we already hit the $30,000 level before, and we actually tested it quite a few times on our way up to $42,000 and beyond, I don't think that this $30,000 level is going to hold, purely because we haven't established much resistance here. You know, on the way up, there was no trading that happened at the $30,000 level. Like, let's really break this down and be honest with ourselves right now. We didn't find any resistance here at all. We got rejected, and this rejection lasted 2 hours, and then the price broke right above $30,000, right? So this level was easy to break on the way up, but it also means that it's potentially going to be very easy to break on the way down. If you guys have been watching for just a week or two, you'll remember that I said the same thing about Bitcoin dropping below this level. I said that if Bitcoin was going to test this level more, well, we didn't really establish resistance on the way up, and so we're not going to have support on the way down. And that was exactly the case, because as soon as we plummeted below this level, I mean, you can see it was just a catastrophic drop afterwards. This is where I was predicting a $20,000 drop, and we had dumped by $10,000 already. So obviously we only did half of my prediction, but we're now on the way back down to fulfill the rest of it. And so this is a case where, look, we just don't have much support here, and we've already tested this level many times. You know, this is a very weak area of support in my opinion. It was extremely weak resistance, and so how can I expect it to be strong support, and at a time where a lot of people are going to be fearful? You know, I just don't think that there's good reason to buy Bitcoin right now, because it's not at any key support levels. The key support levels it's near right now are obviously, I think, quite weak, because they've been tested so many times. Look, we tested it once as resistance, but 3 times as support already, potentially going on number 4 now. And I definitely think that if we do get close to this level soon, it's probably going to break and send us somewhere a little bit lower. And that's where I think this continued bearish price action comes in. And you guys who are watching the replay of this live stream, you are going to know the answer to this already, but I do think that Bitcoin right now is doing something pretty classic, pretty typical, which is it's just in a short-term downtrend right now, and it's consolidating before it takes its next leg downwards. This is super common, and actually if we zoom in a little bit further, we can see that Bitcoin has already done this quite a few times, right? So let me just zoom out a little bit, and I can show you how, I mean, we entered a short-term downtrend all the way at $42,000, but I'll just show it to you from here. This is what happened over the past 2 days. Bitcoin ended up trading down, then we consolidated. This isn't consolidation, we traded down, we formed a continuation pattern, traded down, continuation pattern, traded down, continuation pattern, traded down, big continuation pattern, traded down, and now we're trading sideways again, potentially in another continuation pattern. And ladies and gents, this just forms the very typical staircase pattern that we're used to when we look at stock prices and things like that. It's just a typical staircase to hell or staircase to heaven formation. Bitcoin has been doing it in front of our eyes very well. It does it on the way up too, by the way. So we go up, then we continuation pattern, go up again, continuation pattern, and so on. So it works in both directions, but right now obviously the predominant trend is downwards, and that's why I think we are looking at something which is potentially pretty dangerous for Bitcoin, because we're in another one right now. And crucially, this is after we fell out of the triangle, right? So we had a big triangle right here, and we fell out of it with this big continuation pattern that we had, and now there's even less reason to be buying Bitcoin in my opinion, because it's broken a major support level. And really all this is a representation of is where the momentum is in the market and where the bias is in the market. And right now, you know, the thing we need to keep in mind about Bitcoin, and this is going to really help us just, you know, with analysis, with trading, is why do people buy Bitcoin, right? And so you know, the people who are buying Bitcoin during the more boring periods, right, anything that's kind of like during this price action, the people who are buying Bitcoin in these periods, they were buying Bitcoin because they were just genuinely interested and there was genuine desire to have Bitcoin, right? But afterwards, the main reasons that people bought Bitcoin in periods like this, anything after $12,000, which is exactly where I opened a long position on Bitcoin and then wrote it up to 400% profit, at these kind of areas, anyone who's buying Bitcoin over here is buying it purely out of speculation, purely because they want to make profits. And look, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's completely fine, right? Like, I wouldn't be making these YouTube videos if I wasn't a trader and it wasn't able to, you know, like I couldn't make money off this. Obviously, we're all here just for the money, or mainly for the money, and we just got to be honest about that, because when we recognize that we are honest about this and we are just in Bitcoin for the money, it becomes a lot easier to internalize and understand that as soon as that reason is gone in the market and we start getting some signs that are potentially fearful, we do break down from very critical support levels, because people don't truly believe in the asset. at that time. And that's completely fine because it means that we can get bought out, and realistically nobody wants to buy Bitcoin unless it already looks sexy and it's already rising exponentially, and we also don't have that right now. And so if we look at it from that lens, actually it looks very plausible that Bitcoin should be able to drop lower and potentially test some of these support levels that are below, and I just think that makes a beautiful setup to potentially buy at some very, very nice levels. I'm seeing your questions in the comment section. Please continue to tag me at FORFLIES and I will go through them later on in the video, in the live stream. Once again, if we can shoot up those likes, any of you guys who are new to the channel, please do subscribe. We are absolutely killing it in this market. A lot of very, very nice gains being made inside of FORFLIES VIP, FORFLIES Gold, just you guys watching this channel as well. As you guys know, I was trading the upside very aggressively throughout this trend. I was trading a lot of long positions, made a lot of very, very big profits. The key positions I made were at $12,000. I traded 12,000 up to about 17. No, I'm sorry, up to about 17 over here, which was a modest gap, but still a 4 times return. So still very, very good because I traded it on leverage. It was the maxed percent profit was 4 times return, and I did the same thing again between 24,000 and 28,000. Again, a small gap, but completely outperforming this entire market cycle purely because I was trading it on leverage. And the exchange I'm doing that on is Phemex and Bybit, and the links to both of them are in the description. Those are the main exchanges that I use to trade Bitcoin, and I'm pretty happy with how they were going. So if you want to trade these coins and you want to trade them the way I do, I've got my tutorials on them as well. You can pause this live stream or open a new tab and search this up. This is the tutorial, if you type this into YouTube, of Phemex. This is the main platform I use to trade Bitcoin along with Bybit. I have tutorials on both, and the referral links for these exchanges will give you bonuses when you make deposits on those exchanges as well. So it helps the channel out, and you get free money to play with as well to learn how to play around these exchanges. So there you go, just a very quick plug for these guys. I love them and I've been using them for a very, very long time. But taking it back to the analysis over here, you know, we do have potentially even more trouble for Bitcoin on the way. There's an even bigger descending triangle that actually no one's even talking about, and it is pretty much the same thing that Bitcoin is doing, was doing before. We just have another one on a larger time frame, and this is something that I don't want to ignore, because when it rains, it really does pour in the crypto space. And of course, if you're new to the game, you will you won't know that very well, but if you've been around, this will be a pretty obvious thing to you, where we have yet another descending triangle, and this one actually is on a slightly larger time frame. I think it's looking to be a little bit better. We've hit this resistance 3 times now, and we've hit the support also 3 times, although only 2 times on a more macro scale. So these 2 tests were quite close to each other, so you might just count this as one test, and we're potentially looking at number 3 as well. And so if we do end up getting a rebound and bouncing upwards, I would only call that a dead cat bounce, because realistically I think that Bitcoin has broken a lot of its chances and messed up a lot of its chances to keep rising up for now. I don't think that this is something that's going to continue and be a problem in the future. Obviously I think this is only temporary, this disaster that Bitcoin's in, but I do think that because of every reason I just told you why the support level could be thin at $30,000, I think that if we do bounce off it, we are potentially looking at a bit of a dead cat bounce to find some resistance at these levels, which, by the way, will start to line up with our other indicators like the Ichimoku Cloud. Look at that, that is perfectly drawn. I didn't even know the Ichimoku Cloud would be there, but on the 4-hour time frame, the Ichimoku Cloud right now has already closed up. It's no longer support, or it's very negligible support, and it will start turning into resistance if Bitcoin stays down at these levels or drops lower. And so we are looking at a situation here, ladies and gents, where Bitcoin could end up forming a bit of a dead cat bounce, but only rise up into resistance levels. I really have to say it is extremely impressive how accurate that analysis was without me seeing the Ichimoku Cloud, because I correctly pointed out where the resistance would be. That tends to happen quite a bit these days. I think it's because I've just been using these indicators for so many years now, but it's very, very cool. There is synergy between me and these indicators, and that's cool. Something interesting to point out. But you know, this is the key thing, because what we're getting with this analysis now is I am stretching this out and talking about, you know, if this happens, then this might happen, then this might happen. And every time you talk about a new probability, the chances of that overall situation playing out are quite low. But it really, really lines up in this case where we could end up finding a bit of a bounce off this level because it is support, right? There's psychological support here. There's technical support here. There's still support on the daily exponential moving average ribbon, by the way, right? So there's still momentum supporting this chart trading upwards and things like that as well. There's still reason to be bullish on this market, but the fact that we broke so many of them, I think that we could still get a bounce, but I just don't think it would be a big one at the current stage of this market, and it would continue to play in to this descending triangle pattern, which does also line up with new areas of resistance which were previously areas of support. And so when we get that, we're getting what's called confluence. We're getting something where multiple indicators on multiple different time frames are showing us the same possibilities, and that's where we start to get a lineup where this isn't just subjective analysis anymore. This has moved into something that's a lot more objective, a lot more neutral in the way we conduct our analysis, because we're seeing that multiple tools that are completely unrelated line up to tell us the same possible story. And that's where I get really excited, because it means you've got a pretty solid case for trading. And obviously that's super important, because obviously a lot of people are losing money in this market right now. A lot of people are getting screwed over in this market. It's not easy to trade right now. A lot of people are new to the game and things like that. And so if you don't really know what to look out for, you will lose a lot of money really quickly, especially if you're trading on leverage. It's very, very risky. And so if you're not aware of how to trade safely, that can be a very, very big problem. It is fortunately something that a lot of our VIP members have learned quite quickly after joining. This member over here making a nice 35% profit shortly after joining. Another one over here being disappointed with making a $6,000 profit within one of his first trades inside VIP, which is extremely, extremely impressive. In fact, no, this is his first trade since joining FORFLIES VIP, which is even more impressive, making a really, really big gain, but doing it in a very safe way. Guys, this is super important. This market is dangerous right now. It's very, very hot, and people are losing money left, right, and center. But if you're able to spot safe trading opportunities and navigate them safely like this guy did, he got stopped out of his position. His stop loss got hit, which means that his worst case scenario for the trade was met. But he still walked away with a profit, and he's already regained a quarter of everything he lost before joining VIP by taking risk off the table early. So he was following good risk management strategies, still walking away with a nice profit, and mentioning that there's much further to go. So right there, 51% profit, making nearer to 7k US as well shortly after this message. Just absolutely loving it. This guy, by the way, is in the comments today, so shout out to you. I'm not going to reveal who you are, obviously, for your operational security, but I am seeing your comments and I absolutely love them. Thank you very much. Recovering from COVID, so I hope you're better now, by the way. This was a couple of days ago, and still making really, really nice profits, exercising good risk management. We exchanged a few voice notes as well. Another member over here making a beautiful 110% profit, you know, in this market where it is quite risky. And so we do have a lot of VIP members that are doing very, very well. And as I go on, my assistant is live right now with us. I was just doing interviews for a new assistant. We're expanding the team again. Can you believe it? It's crazy. I think I mentioned in the last video, we more than doubled our team last year, if I'm not mistaken, and it's already January and we're hiring someone new, potentially 2 people. So there is a lot moving over here in our new Dubai headquarters, the Burj Khalifa behind me. I absolutely love it here. And if you want to join VIP and get a taste of what's going on inside of VIP, you can get a taste of it by clicking on the first link in the description down below, and then click on the @FORFLIES button at the bottom of FORFLIES Gold, and then click on send message to ask me how to join VIP, and we'll give you all the information about what's going on, how these people have been able to kill it in this market but still do it safely. And above all, you get to see me trading in real time. I tell you absolutely everything I'm doing, from the consideration phases to me committing to my trades and different things like that, all of that by following these steps on screen. Just pause the live stream and come back to it. My assistant is online right now and he'll give you all the information you're looking for. But with this descending triangle, we are looking at something potentially pretty disastrous, unfortunately, and it does line up with new resistance that we might end up finding. And the next thing to do from here is, you know, one popular way to measure how low we might end up dumping is actually by measuring the length of this pattern and then extending it downwards. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me just make sure I've drawn this properly by pressing the shift button on my keyboard and then drawing the line down. That makes the line straight. And I'm just going to extend this from the bottom of our descending triangle, and that puts us squarely at $18,000. So this is quite a low target for Bitcoin. Honestly, I don't think we're going to go that low. If we do, I can't think of anything that would excite me more. Not even the Russians here in Dubai would excite me more than that. We do have a situation here where if Bitcoin ends up falling down to $18,000, I would cream my pants on demand. That was a terrible click, because that would be the best buy of my life, to buy Bitcoin down there. And, you know, realistically, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's interesting to talk about this because that is where one of our key Fibonacci levels line up. So let me show this to you on a different chart, where I can delete these lines, and I just want to place a horizontal line at that $18,000 level, and I want to show you what this lines up with, because if I draw a Fibonacci retracement starting from the bottom all the way up to the top of this trend, bam, right there. I mean, it couldn't be better than this. That 0.618 Fibonacci level lines up perfectly with the $18,000 level, and that is the target for our current descending triangle. So look, I'm not saying we're going to dump that low. Obviously, I think every single one of us would want us to, by the way. I mean, I'm reading your comments, and you know, I'm definitely sure that a lot of you guys are going to be excited, just like I would be, if Bitcoin ended up dumping that low, because it would be a massive opportunity to buy, and it would be very, very exciting, and it lines up with a key Fibonacci level. So Fibonacci retracements are obviously extremely important in my opinion. They're one of my favorite tools to use in technical analysis, and it lines up really, really well, where this is our Fibonacci retracement of the entire trend from the bottom all the way up to the top. And crucially, we've already respected key levels along this Fibonacci retracement, right? If I you know, kind of, I can't even fit this on the chart. Let's use the 8-hour time frame. If I kind of zoom out a little bit and show this to you, let's just break down every single Fibonacci level here and see if we've had key market reversals and things like that at these levels. And let's just start from the bottom. 0.786. This is not a very important level, but how did we respond to it? We found a little bit of resistance. We even found a little bit of support back in 2019. We had a big consolidation point right around here as well, and we consolidated here before we went parabolic. So there was a lot of very, very important things happening around this level. The 0.618 level, what happens here? Admittedly, not much, but we do end up consolidating right on this level and finding a big area of support here, which again triggers the continuation of our exponential parabolic rally with our current market trend, right? So the 618 level also has importance in this market. The 0.5 level, this is exactly where we consolidated at the $22,500 level, lines up very, very well. It couldn't be better. The 382 level, $27,300, this is very close to where we consolidated and where we dropped down for support. And so the 382 level also showing us a lot of confluence, and the 236 level, this is probably the weakest one, but we do still have some confluence over here with some support being found. And if we zoom in even further, we are also getting a little bit of resistance, so we can see some resistance hits over here. We previously set an all-time high, and this all, in my opinion, paints a picture for Bitcoin to show us that it has respected this Fibonacci retracement very well. And as we already know, if you know a little bit about the Fibonacci retracement, we do have a situation here where the 0.618 retracement is usually the strongest retracement level. This is usually where the price will fall down to within a bullish trend, just to really erase the fear, erase the, how do I say, cleanse out the fearful people in the market and let us continue higher with more pure blood. And there's a lot of examples of that. I'm just going to show you some really quickly in 2017. Once again, there are a lot of parallels with 2017's trend in my opinion, and I don't even know which ones to show you because I tend to do this incorrectly, but I'm just going to wing it and see if I do it correctly. Let's just see what happens. But I think here is a good example. Let's just draw this from the low to the high, and right over here we end up falling down to the 0.618 level. Look, it's absolutely beautiful. We fall down to the 0.618 level and then we continue up. Let's see what happens at the next point. I think the next one we can draw something a little bit like this. We fall down to the 0.5 level, so we do have some confluence here, not in the way I expected, but still definitely lines up. If we draw this Fibonacci from this low, which is where the parabola really started, I should say restarted, we did fall down to the 618 retracement on this Fibonacci as well. There are many more examples. I'll just show you one or two more. Again, just to prove this point, and really the thing I want to do is kind of blow your mind and show you how consistent this is. I think this is another one to show you right here, if I'm not mistaken. We end up falling down to the 618 level and consolidating here. We actually dropped a little bit lower than that here, but this is where we consolidated and then carrying on trading upwards. There are a lot of examples of this, and you can see constantly that these Fibonacci's, they do end up being respected very, very well depending on how you draw them. And I think that's a very, very important thing to keep in mind, because in exponential bullish rallies, Bitcoin tends to make very, very good use of these kind of tools. And right now, I think we have the potential to do that. So look, I don't think there's a high possibility of us falling that low, but my God, if we do, I think that would be absolutely beautiful. Shout out to Angelina for tuning into this live stream. I see all of you guys in here as well, so if you can shoot up those likes and subscribe if we haven't already, that would be absolutely great. We're on an absolute roll right here. And a little bit more that I want to go on for with Bitcoin until I switch over to Ethereum. And, you know, I think the big thing for me right now is that even though we are seeing these quite bearish signs in this market, I do think we are going to drop lower, but I don't think that the uptrend is over yet. I think that we still have a long way to go with this trend, with Bitcoin potentially finding a little bit of resistance along the way down and dumping a little bit lower to some of these key levels, but then restarting that uptrend. So let's talk about that for a little bit, because we have some really good support levels below us. We have some very, very interesting areas, and I think that each of them are almost equally likely for Bitcoin. Honestly, I think dropping down to this final level is least likely because it's just too good to be true. But, you know, if we get it, we get it, and I will love that. I won't question it. Right now, you know, what we have is this was a previous area which was an all-time high for Bitcoin. We came down very quickly to test this as support and then bounced right back up, and I think that could make it very important for Bitcoin. That's the $27,600 level, and I think that makes it a very, very important level for this market. So this is definitely something that I'm interested in keeping an eye out on for this market, and we do also have it lining up with some other signs of support. I'm not sure which time frames they're on, but let's take a look at the Ichimoku. Yeah, right there, the one-day Ichimoku lining up really, really well with this $27,000 area. And granted, this would take us into the beginning days of February. This is about 2 weeks down the line right now, but I think that if we do end up finding some support here, this Ichimoku Cloud could end up acting as a bit of a trampoline, sending us up. I got a question asking me to explain what the Ichimoku Cloud does, but this is an indicator I use quite a lot in my videos, so I would recommend you actually just pause this live stream right now and watch this video I made on the Ichimoku Cloud. Just type this into YouTube exactly like I typed it, and go ahead and watch my video on the Ichimoku Cloud. This is part of my wider FORFLIES Academy courses, which are paid, but I've made these videos free for you guys, so please do use them. They're really, really good. It's the best course ever, and this is free for you, so please use it. And I explain fully what the Ichimoku Cloud is, but broadly speaking, if it's green, it's the lines that I've already drawn. I also think that the $24,000 level would make a lot of sense for Bitcoin, which is this second green line, because this is where we actually had a pretty sizable consolidation, and that means we were able to establish price history. We were able to establish some price history around these levels, potentially giving Bitcoin the chance to find support here in the past. Because if you guys remember, the reason I said that I don't think this level is going to hold at $30,000, it's because we didn't establish much resistance on the way up, and we've already tested it many times as support. And so, you know, it was already a weak level to begin with, in my opinion, and we've already tested it quite a few times, right? And so this is to say that the camel is already weak. The camel was born weak, and we're putting more and more and more straws on top of it, and so it's going to collapse, and it's going to collapse quickly, in my opinion, just with my analysis. And that might mean that we are going to trade significantly lower down to some of these key levels. But this $24,000 level, this camel was built like a G. This camel was built like a gangster, because it was suffering all the way from the beginning and just getting rejected continuously for 8 days straight, which definitely hardened up this camel's back. So we can place more and more and more and more and more and more and more straws on it. And because it was hardened in its childhood, in its infancy, we tested this level as resistance many times. I think that it could act as some very, very good support. The other reason that I think it could be quite good is that a lot of the big popular targets we have in this space for Bitcoin are around this price level, and we do usually overshoot them a little bit, which will end up kind of making things a little bit scarier for people who are new to the space, and they start thinking, no, hang on a minute, we're dropping too much, and so the fearful people sell, and we only dump a little bit lower, and then we end up really rocketing higher. And once again, another very key example. I've got to show this to you because we've seen this already on this chart. You know, like if you've been around for a long time, you've seen this before. This isn't going to come as a surprise to you. It was with that very same situation in 2017. So if I just replay the chart and show this to you once more, we did have a very similar situation on this chart right here. Let's switch it to the 4-hour time frame. It's a little bit easier to see, and I just want to drop the same kind of descending triangle lines for you to see what it looked like in the past. And I mean, we do have a situation right here where we dipped down to some levels that were quite fearful, and then we dipped even lower, right? So the final support level for Bitcoin that a lot of people were looking at this time was the $2,000 area, which was right over here. And that's just because it was an area of psychological support. It was a very round number. It was a nice number. And if we fall from $3,000 down to $2,000, that's still a minus 33% correction, right? And so this is still a pretty deep correction. It still cuts quite deep, but we ended up falling a little bit lower than that, and it recovered really quickly back above this level again. But the point was, a lot of people probably had their stop losses around these levels. A lot of people had their final breakout points at these levels where they were going to look at potentially exiting all of their positions. And actually I sold roughly around over here as well, because this was the first and only time in my life that I ever panic sold Bitcoin, because I was a bloody idiot, and I ended up missing out on this entire wave and then buying right back over here around August. So I felt like an absolute idiot. It was like the worst way for me to turn. What was it, 16, 17? I was quite young back then. I turned 16 roughly around this period. It was the worst way for me to turn 16. I felt like a bloody idiot, but it obviously worked out very well afterwards. But the point is, we ended up overshooting the key level that everyone had their eye on, but just a little bit, right? This is by about 15%, and only for, about 10%, and only for about the period of a day, maybe 2 days, right? So it's quite short term, but a day is still enough to shake a lot of people out, and then we ended up recovering upwards. And so that's something that Bitcoin tends to do quite a lot, and that's why I think that Bitcoin has the potential to do the same thing right now with our current trend, which is to say that it ends up dumping down below some of these key levels like 27,000, below that the Ichimoku support on the daily chart, below the momentum support on the daily chart as well. We dump a little bit lower than that, we stay low for just a little bit, and that's when we recover up. And obviously I do think we're going to recover upwards, because overall we're in a very good trend, and this market, it does need to retrace, it does need to relax and regain some of that strength. And this is the thing that I kept on talking about all throughout this rally, right? So viewers of this channel, shout out to you guys. Those of you who've been subscribed for a long time, please do subscribe if you haven't already. We're absolutely killing it in this market, so you don't want to miss out on this content. You will know very well how I've been calling for some sort of pattern like this, which is number one, boring, and number two, frustrating and painful to happen. We've got both of them right now. We've been trading sideways for about 14 days. We've been breaking down, so it's a little bit painful as well. So it's boring and painful. We need that in order to reset the trend and continue trading upwards. I got a question from Misho asking me to show my Ichimoku Cloud settings. It is 20, 60, 120, 30. I know it off by heart. And so you can go ahead and take a look at that if you want to run the Ichimoku Cloud just like I have it. This is made for 24/7 markets. By the way, I see a lot of your questions for VIP. If you haven't already, do reach out for VIP just to find out what's going on. We have a lot of people absolutely killing it inside of VIP lately, just really making very nice gains, plus 35%, plus 51%, plus, well, that's the same thing actually, plus 110%, and plus 75, plus 58, plus 17, all in the same day from this particular VIP member, absolutely balling hard. So if you want to see how these people have been able to pull these kind of results, then follow the steps on screen and we'll give you all the information on joining VIP. I'm going to start going through your questions in just a bit, but I'm not done with my core analysis yet. 24,000 potentially acting as an interesting level of support. I'm seeing a lot of your messages, so my assistant hasn't responded for about 10 minutes. He's probably just on a short break. He'll come back in a bit and he'll get to you guys. But yeah, 24K potentially acting as an interesting level. But, obviously this $20,000 level is the other area of support that I'm seeing. The reason that I don't think there's going to be any support between these green lines is because we didn't consolidate on the way up. And if you haven't noticed already, if you watch other YouTubers, my analysis is very simple. I don't actually use a lot of indicators. I use the Ichimoku Cloud occasionally, I use the EMA ribbon occasionally, but that's it. And those are quite specialized indicators, but for the most part, my analysis is very simple. I'm just using horizontal lines, and that's basically it. And on a horizontal plane, just doing analysis looking at these horizontal levels, we didn't have a chance to establish much resistance on the way up, and for that reason I just don't think there's going to be much opportunity for the market to bounce off any levels other than where we consolidated on the way up. And so that's why I'm looking at these areas as potentially being support for Bitcoin. And if I remove all of these now and show this to you with the VPVR, this is another tool that I like to use to visualize where support might be. And really simply what this indicator is showing you, again, I have a tutorial on this, so pause the video and type this. You're giving you a lot of homework now to go. I'm not going to call it homework, that's terrible, but a lot of stuff for you to watch if you're interested in expanding your learning horizons. And by the way, if you want to do more of this, we have an entire FORFLIES Academy course on this, which is what this VIP member had, and that's what enabled him to make a really nice profit. This guy's failing trade was a $6,000 profit. So just imagine what success looks like to him after joining VIP. This was all shortly after joining FORFLIES Academy. That's our course in conjunction with his VIP membership as well, doing very, very well. So right here, if you want to learn more about the VPVR, you can follow this on YouTube. Pause the video, type this in, and watch my video on it. But very simply, it represents to us where Bitcoin has spent time trading. And so you can see that we've spent a lot of time trading at this level, a lot of time trading at this level, a little bit here and a little bit here, and we can start to see how this lines up very well with the levels I drew for you before. So let's actually show that to you, and let me overlay the VPVR on top of this. My green line at the 27k level is actually right between the two key levels, but you can see very well how this lines up with the VPVR right now, where you know, pretty much just above the spikes is where I've drawn each of these lines. I didn't even need to use the VPVR because when you gain a little bit more experience with this, you can just visualize it straight away. The VPVR is only a visual aid, and so it's not useful at all. That's a very, very harsh way to say it. I'm sorry. It's very useful, but it's not necessary at all when you've started to get a feel for the market. But right here, you know, like I already had it, and so I didn't need it. But we can see very clearly here that the VPVR is showing us quite concentrated spikes in volume around these levels, and that's usually where the price will come down to when it starts to drop. And we have a lot of examples of that. If you want me to, I should probably show you a couple of examples just for you know, just for educational purposes, really, because it's interesting. I can show you how we've ended up falling down to some key levels throughout our trends. Let's use this price action. I think this is quite relevant. If I zoom out, we can see where some of these points of control were in the market. And the main one that I want to point out to you is there is this big spike on the VPVR right here. The spike starts all the way up here and it stretches down. So if I drop two horizontal lines to mark, look, the spike starts here and it ends over here. When the price ended up breaking up out of this range, it fell right back down to the big spike in the VPVR, and that's where we found support, and that's how we ended up trading higher, and that's usually what ends up happening. So let me just draw a couple more green lines now around each of these spikes on the VPVR, and let's just see if we can spot anything interesting real quick. And so right here, I don't think there's a lot to look at. Let's actually replay the chart even further back and look at this. I think this will be a little bit more interesting. Yeah, right there. So the VPVR lines are broadly the same, and we can see that we ended up falling down to these levels to find support quite a few times, right? So we found a lot of support in this range where we had a big spike. We found a massive, very, very important triple bottom support at this big spike on the VPVR. And so we typically do end up falling down to spikes in the VPVR and then trading up. And so if I end up, if I stop replaying the chart now and I show to you what this looks like with our current trend right now in the present day, we do have a lot of spikes at these key levels that I've outlined for you already on this chart. And I think that means Bitcoin has a pretty good chance of finding support at each of these spikes along the way, but not anywhere else. And like I said, it becomes quite easy to predict where we might find support using an indicator like this, and that's why I like to take a look at it. Paul Potato mentioning, I wish I knew how to short. Yeah, well, I mean, shorting in this market would net you a lot of money. There's a very good reason for why I'm not doing it, but I understand that. If you want to learn how to short, then I do show that to you inside of my Phemex tutorial. I actually show it to you a little bit better in my Bybit tutorial, so you can go ahead and search this into YouTube right now, again, in a different tab, and you can watch my tutorial on Bybit, and I explain to you how to go short and different things like that. And it is another concept that I teach inside of the FORFLIES Academy as well, so VIP members are able to learn about that as well once they get their membership with the FORFLIES Academy as well. So once again, if you want details on that, I'm still seeing your messages coming in, lots of messages, like every minute someone's asking about it. It's pretty standard actually. Just yesterday I mentioned that we were nearly at 915 members. We've hit that now, and we're about to pass it because someone else has just paid, and we're just waiting to enroll him now. So we're about to pass 915 members as well. We crossed 800 like last month. We're on the way to 1,000. It's absolutely blowing up inside of VIP, so definitely get a piece of your cake if you're interested. But right here, definitely a very, very interesting time, and finding support at these VPVR levels definitely makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm going to start going through your questions shortly. Once again, if you can tag me at FORFLIES in the comment section if you're watching live with any questions you have at all. I've just put it in the chat again. Make sure you tag me like that, otherwise I'm not going to see your question. Here's Ethereum though. Ethereum is looking good, but not much better than Bitcoin, because the thing with Ethereum is that, you know, it's a more volatile asset, and so it will rise harder than Bitcoin, which it has done a little bit of lately, but it will also fall harder than Bitcoin. And so what we had here was it actually overshot the area of support that I had drawn for Ethereum. I don't need this indicator anymore. We did consolidate here sideways. We even bounced off this level originally, but this level didn't end up falling, unfortunately, and I think that was quite a dangerous thing for Ethereum, because this could have been a strong level for Ethereum, but broadly speaking, below this, I don't think that there's a lot of good support for Ethereum. If it bounces off any of these levels now, I think it would just be at the whim of Bitcoin. It's pretty much just at Bitcoin's mercy right now. If Bitcoin drops, as you know, usually the rest of the market will tank as well with it. You know, Tron up by 6% today against Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's down by 10% today. So Tron has still lost money against the dollar. Cardano, really, really bad over here because Bitcoin is down, and its Cardano Bitcoin pair is down. So while Bitcoin is down by 10%, Cardano is down 3% against Bitcoin. So it's actually down by around 13%, and that makes it quite a dangerous coin to be in right now. And Ethereum, unfortunately, following suit with that right now, because it's dropped a little bit harder than Bitcoin, and I'm potentially seeing some support for Ethereum being down here, because the thing is, this whole area is quite messy. We didn't actually trade sideways for long anywhere throughout this trend, and so I don't think that there's much support for Ethereum here, and that makes, oh, who are these scammers in the comment section? Okay, I think it's fine, no one's falling for them. But Ethereum, yeah, it didn't have a chance to establish much resistance on the way up. Same picture as Bitcoin, and that can mean that its crash will be a lot deeper. And so I am looking, the last period of sustained consolidation we had was at the $700 range. And crucially, this level, this is the same level I was talking about before. This level was a strong bounce zone for Bitcoin, for Ethereum. However, if Ethereum does end up dropping below this level, I think it can fall all the way down to $700. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier on in this live stream, I'm always looking for the lowest risk trading opportunities, and this is a very low risk trading opportunity in my opinion, because Ethereum has a history of just teleporting from one of these green lines up to the next one or down to the next one as well. So I'm not going to show this to you with the price history, but you can back test this yourself if you're curious while you're watching this. The first line is at 730, the second line is at 875. Just gonna drink some water here because I've been talking for quite a bit. It's been 50 minutes. I've been talking non-stop, just giving analysis. That's crazy. I can go on for hours with these live streams. I love them. Guys, if we can share these out, really trying to get some good numbers on for this. YouTube recommended this video to you with the algorithm because it thought you would enjoy this video. So if it was correct, and it's a bloody sophisticated algorithm, so I'm willing to bet that it was correct, please do share it with friends and family and things like that. Obviously, we are trying to grow the channel. We've got a lot of you guys clicking like on this video as well, which I really, really appreciate. Where's the channel at? We at 62. We just hit 62k subscribers, on our way up to 63,000. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do as well. Looking to hit that big 100 as well. I have some really exciting things planned for you guys to give you a lot of free value. You're gonna love this. Like, it's gonna blow everyone away. You just completely wouldn't expect it, but it is something that I'm planning to do probably around the 75,000 subscriber mark. So if you can help us get there, it's gonna help you. It's gonna help me. We'll all be winning. Phil, thank you very much. Appreciate you doing the live streams. I'm going to go through some of your questions now and then return to my core analysis in just a bit. What are your thoughts on using MT4 with crypto? I have 1 to 500, usually trade Forex, but I can trade crypto as well there. Misha, if you're using 500 times leverage on crypto, like, show me where you got your balls from, because that's crazy. Yeah, if it works for you, good, but no, I'm okay. Like, the most I ever use is 10 or 20 times. 500 times is crazy. To put it into perspective, what is it, like a 0.2% fluctuation, which is like $100 or something, is going to liquidate you. So that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. No, I don't use MT4. I use Phemex, Bybit, and PrimeXBT. In that order, roughly. And so, and the links are in the description, and my tutorials are there as well, and that's where I trade. I think those are the best places to trade. That's why I endorse them. That's why I work with these guys, and those are the ones that I use. And I use 3 of them. I use in fact, I use a lot more than just that. I have multiple accounts on each of these exchanges as well for security reasons, right? Because it's not a good idea to just have one account, because if that one exchange gets hacked, or there's some downtime, there's some server issues, you're just shit out of luck. You're just like dead in the water, right? But if you have your risk spread out and you have multiple accounts, it works out very well for you. And any of you guys playing with serious money, you shouldn't be keeping all of your money in one place. It's just not safe. And so that's why I diversify. I split up my eggs. I put them in different baskets, and obviously it turned out to be a very good decision. So if you want to set up a second backup account and you want to support the channel and gain some free money to trade with and things like that, then the links in the description will give you access to those things. FORFLIES, does it make sense to short now? Yeah, good question, Caribbean Queen. That's something that I mentioned I would talk about. So let's switch it over to Bitcoin for a second and talk about why I'm not taking short positions right now. First of all, I think that it's a good idea to take short positions. This is really important. Right now, I think that this is a good time to be in a short position. Obviously, the best time to be in a short position would have been right around over here where we fell out of this big bullish pennant, or it would be around over here where we fell out of the descending triangle. But in any case, the short opportunity would have been today. However, and this is a very big however for me, right? And this is really important. In fact, I'm going to blow up my camera now because there's no way I can emphasize this enough. I am very strongly against the idea of trading just for the sake of trading, right? There are so many ways to get completely fucked in this market and lose half of your money overnight, lose 30% of your money overnight, especially if you're trading on leverage. And so I deliberately avoid making trades until they look 110% perfect and amazing for me. And that does mean that over the past couple of days, I haven't traded anything. But it also means that I was only trading the upside, and I had a lot of opportunities to safely make profits in this market, as VIP members have seen me doing in real time, where I was trading all this trend up, and not even once did I try to trade the down. You can't even see my screen, but I was trading the whole trend up from $20,000 all the way. Let's just move this in front of me so I remember that you can't see the screen. I was trading the whole trend up from $12,000 all the way up to about $30,000, and I wasn't running the risk of getting stopped out on moves by trying to trade the downside, because I didn't need to, guys. Realistically, we're in an uptrend. We spend more time trending up than we do trending down. And so if you're trying to trade the downside, you are inevitably, just by virtue of trying to trade the downside, you are inevitably going to be exposed to more risk. And so even though it will work at times like this, and even though I think it's a good idea, out of principle, I never ever trade out of desperation. And so and a big part of that is you're sitting there, you're watching the market crash, you're looking at other people making money, and then you start getting like trigger happy, your fingers start jittering around, you feel like a kid who's got ADHD or anything like that. You just can't keep still, and you want to trade something, you got trigger happy, you want to just hit the button on something, you want to make a trade, and that is always the most dangerous position to be in. I know this because I've been there myself many times. In fact, I talked about this a lot in the ebook that I just released recently. It's in the description, so if you go in the description of this video, of this live stream, I think it's like link number 5 in the description. It's called Trade Insane. I made an ebook there for $37. Actually, I ask you to name your fair price, but it starts at $37, and it comes with a free audiobook and free video course accompanying that. So it's amazing value in there. I've never sold anything so cheap as well, but I think you guys are going to love it, and I talk expressly about that inside of that product. And you know, a big part of it is that I'm never ever rushing into trades, right? I'm just not desperate to make trades. I don't need to. It's not necessary for me, and that's a big reason for why I'm able to keep my head afloat. And so let's just move it back to this analysis now. Let's blow my head back down to where it was. And actually, I do think that we are in a good place to be taking up short positions right now, but I think that the potential to enjoy the results from these short positions is really small, right? There's just not a lot of opportunity to be trading the downside here, because let's be realistic right now. If the market does end up trading down to some of these key support levels that I've outlined for you, we're probably going to do it quite quickly, in my opinion. And as a result of doing it quickly, you're just not going to have much time to be profitable. And if you don't have much time to be profitable, that means your risk is high, right? You just don't have much opportunity to be profitable, and that means any trade you enter at these points will be quite risky. And so I do think we're going to be bouncing off these levels. I don't know which one of these three will bounce off from. Obviously, I think it's more likely to bounce off this kind of level, you know, potentially 27. I don't think 20k is likely, but I really hope it happens. But in any case, I think we're more likely to bounce off these levels, potentially even 30k to get a bit of a bounce off, right? I talked about that earlier on in this live stream, and so that would make a lot of sense. But we're probably going to spend more time on the subsequent uptrend, and so I don't see any point in risking my money on, you know, just trying to be in and out of a position like this. I still think it's a good idea, and when it looks really good and actually it starts looking safer, I will trade it and I will eat my words and I'll go back on this idea. But right now it still doesn't look good enough to me. And so to answer your question, this was a big one, Caribbean Queen, so thank you very much. But to answer your question, I do think it makes sense to go short right now. However, because I don't need to, and I've had such a good run trading this upwards, I would rather keep my money safe. I was trading really safe opportunities on the way up, where I would literally quadruple part of my investment on a certain trade after days, right? Like after literal days, because the risk was so small, but the reward was so high. And when I'm trading positions like that, I have no reason to jump into trades like this one right here. And that is what keeps my capital safe, ladies and gents, because if I was jumping on trades like this, then I'd also be jumping on trades like this, for example, or also be jumping on trades like this. And you can see how if I was trying to trade the downside here, I would have gotten fucked. If I was trying to trade the downside here, I would have gotten fucked as well. And so it's very important to keep in mind that, you know, a gambler will make money every now and then, and somebody who is desperate to make money will make money every now and then. But the fact that they're considering positions like this, in my opinion, is inherently a position of weakness. And so this is not me taking digs. I know a lot of very smart people that traded the downside here, and obviously they were spot on, absolutely correct. There were a lot of reasons to trade this, and I'm not denying any of them, but I think there are much safer ways to make money in this market right now, so I don't see a reason to risk my money on these kind of moves. I have to make this point again very importantly, ladies and gents, because if you're not already aware of this, just the cost of you messing up and losing money in this market is bigger than you think. I'm blowing up my face again because I need to do this. I'm really sorry, but this is super important. If you lose 50% of your money in the market, you need to double what you've started with. Sorry, you need to double what you have now in order to break even. So if you start at $100 and you're down to $50 because of bad trades, you need to double your $50 just to break even. Just to break even, just to play catch up, you need to double your money. It is really difficult from a financial point of view. It's really difficult. If you, let's say, if you suffer a I'm drawing this right now, but you don't need to see this. If you suffer a minus 28% loss, in order to break even, you need to recover plus 38%, plus 39%. You need to make 39% profit in order to recover a 28% loss. And so you always need to work harder to recover money that you've lost, right? It's easier to lose money from a percentage point of view than it is to make money. And when you lose money, you're going to feel like shit. And this is the part that people don't consider when they look at trading plans and when they look at risk to reward and things like that. They don't consider what's going to be going on in here when I've suffered a loss or when I'm on a loss streak. And this is more important, because if you can't bring yourself to make healthy decisions because you feel like an idiot, because you've just suffered a big loss and you're trapped in positions and you can't get out because of bad decision making, and it's really screwing you over and you can't think straight because of that, if that's the position you're in, what are you going to do when a genuinely good opportunity comes in front of you? When you have a genuinely good opportunity to make money in the market, but you're too scared to take it because you fucked up the 5 previous times. It's an absolutely terrible position to be in. First, financially, second, psychologically. And so we bring it back to the chart right here. And I'm super, super passionate about this, because it was actually learning about this that allowed me to trade so well, so consistently the way I do now. And you know, it is a big part of that. It does come down to avoiding positions purely because they just don't hit me the right way. And so this is one of the first things that VIP members see me talking about when they join our group inside VIP. In our welcome video, I will tell them things like about how I will decide not to enter a trade based off things that are super simple, super benign, like the wind didn't hit me correctly today. Like, that's how picky I am. And the analogy I like to give is I'm like a really hot 10 out of 10 Instagram model, and I've got 100 guys in my DMs, and like I'm super picky to the point where if a guy just like, if I just don't like the fact that he has the letter A in his name, I will reject him, right? Like, that's the level of stupid picky I am with these kind of trades. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit. In practice, it's not like that, but that's the level of pickiness that I try to communicate, which enables me to consistently book these bigger gains in this market, compound these gains as well. You'll see in VIP members do it on a daily basis as well. This guy pulling this gain just about 7 days ago as well inside of VIP. Really, really fresh testimonials of people slaying it in this market. This is how VIP members are able to do it. This is how I'm able to do it as well. We're very, very picky, and so that does mean we trade a little bit less than the people smoking crack cocaine every day, but we're able to keep our money safe in the long term as well. And this is really important because, you know, like I'm a real trader, right? Like, I'm actually trading. This is actually my main thing. And so I need to be realistic with this. I need to be grounded with this. And a big, big part of that, my friends, is making sure that I'm keeping my money safe. So that's a very extended answer to your question, Caribbean Queen, whatever. But I hope it does help you out. Something very, very important to me, and I did need to just separate a few minutes and put them aside to talk about your question. Once again, if we can smash up those likes, if you've enjoyed some of these explanations that are very down to earth and very, very important as a trader to understand, if you can hit that like button if you have enjoyed that or found it useful at all, that would be very good. And also subscribe if you haven't already. But that's my answer to your question. I do think it makes sense to short right now, but I'm just not comfortable doing it. Okay, moving on. Take profits at VPVR spike levels. Mark, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. So if I was in a short position right now, I would look to take profits at, yeah, each of these green lines right now on this chart. I think that would make a lot of sense, taking profits at each of these green lines. You know, I think the risk of the price reversing at each of these green lines goes up significantly. However, if we drop below this green line, then I think we're dropping right down to the next one. If we drop below this one, if we drop below 22K, I think we're going right down to 20K. And so these are also gaps that I might consider trading, just like the gap on Ethereum that I mentioned, you know, about 10 minutes ago. I mentioned that there was a similar gap between 840, 870, and $700, right? This is another gap that I would consider trading, because this is a very easy one. If Ethereum falls below this green line right here, if it falls below this green line, it's probably going to fall down to this one. This is where the risk is quite low, but it also depends on how we get down here, because if we dump down here in one day, then I don't think we're going to do another $100 down the next day. It's just statistically not likely. However, if we get here slowly, we get here slowly, we're bouncing off support levels and things like that, then I think it would be very likely that we have one quick dump, because these things alternate, right? It's not just quick moves, quick moves, quick moves. No, it's all, you know, like we'll always get something that breaks it up. We'll trade sideways, then we'll move down, then we'll trade up, then we'll trade sideways, then we'll come back down, and that's usually how the market will move. It's not always just right to the point every single time. It's actually very rare that it's like that. And so if we get something a little bit more like this, I will look at trading this and trading this gap, because I think it would make a lot of sense. And so there are nuances to this, and it, you know, like there's a lot that goes into it. And again, if you've suffered losses because you take unnecessary risks and things like that, and now you just can't think straight and you can't commit to good trading ideas, you won't be able to evaluate this kind of opportunity very well, and you'll just say no to it, and then you'll miss the good opportunities, and you'll be all the worse for it. So some very, very important points right there. All crypto related plays are bleeding. So many of these stocks are so intertwined with Bitcoin. Can you talk about Mara? M-A-R-A. What is that? I've never heard of Mara. I'm sorry, I can't talk about Mara. I don't know what it is. I'm guessing you're talking about this one. I don't know. I'm not looking at that because I've never heard of it. Do you think the bull market is over? No, I don't. I absolutely don't. I do think that we're going to drop a lot lower because there's no good support near us right now. And if you're just tuning into the live stream, then please rewind. You're not very far behind it, to be honest. I have been going for an hour, but just listen to it on 2x speed and you'll hear why. But I don't think that this $30,000 level is going to hold. And I do think we're going to plunge a lot lower. But I think this is only to wash out the weak hand. You know, this is only to instigate some fear, because truthfully, if you think that people are manipulating the market, which is almost always the case a little bit, then I do think we have a case where, yeah, I mean, the real players, the big players are looking at buying back Bitcoin a little bit cheaper and then letting it run up again. It's just a very, very common thing that happens in this market, and we've seen it happen a million times as well. So this, what we're seeing right now, is super, super common. I think the chances of the bull market ending right now are very slim, like less than 5%. So I think it's very, very likely that this bull market is going to keep going up. It's just that right now we're having the first sustained, boring, but painful correction in this trend. And it's the first of many. We're going to have a lot of them. We always have a lot of them. This one was the first one after we broke 20K. And it's routine, you know, like I'm not worried about it at all. There we go. Very, very important topics we're covering inside of this live stream. I'm absolutely pumped up. Really, really enjoying this live stream. Yeah, we have got some scammers in the comment section today. So just be careful when you're reading these comments if you are. FORFLIES, I think I'll take advice to buy at the bottom. Okay, not advice, but I also want to buy at the bottom, to be fair. I think it would be beautiful. When you say drop below each of the lines, a lot of the folk tend to leap in that second. What candle close would you be looking for before entering, or even, I wouldn't be looking for any particular candle closes. I think that's overanalyzing. If we just fall down to the lines, I would buy. Very simple. I don't need to wait for a candle close or anything like that. Not necessary. How do I take profits is a question rarely answered anywhere. In other words, what do you do? Convert profits into USDT? No. Do you ever put it back in, or do I put it in a different coin or token? Stephen, I would usually keep it in Bitcoin, because especially in a market like this, because if you earn more Bitcoin through trades and then Bitcoin goes up, you win in both directions. You're essentially gaining more of the asset, which is going up in value. And so you know, personally, that's how I do it, Stephen, but it also depends on you, because if you believe that Bitcoin is going to go up in the long term, then it makes more sense to accumulate more Bitcoin. And a very efficient way to do that is by trading it. And so, you know, you trade it, you acquire more Bitcoin, and then you ride the USD wave up. And obviously, the dollar is in an absolutely terrible state. Nearly everyone agrees on it. And I have to bring you back, guys, to what I said at the beginning of this live stream, where when you're in a situation where everyone agrees on something, the market moves. It doesn't mean that the contrarians step in with their, you know, expensive suits and their little uptight voices and their wives that are cheating on them, and they are the contrarians that end up being the guys who predict the market reversals. That's not what happens, right? When people are actually in agreement about something, like Bitcoin crashing, like the dollar crashing, we do have a situation where that move happens in extremes. It happens quickly and it happens intensely. And so we're looking at that right now. And I fully believe that we're in one of those situations right now as well. MJ asking, do I think it will hit the CME gap around $17,000? No, I don't think so. If we go down there, that would be amazing. But I honestly don't think that's going to happen. Someone mentioned great voice. Thank you very much. I used to aspire to be a radio presenter. Okan Ali, FORFLIES, what price can we reach on dead cat bounce from this level? So, good question. If we end up having a dead cat bounce from 30k, which is something I spoke about, I don't know, like 10 minutes ago, I do think that potentially falling down, so this would be the dead cat bounce level. Let's just draw this out for simplicity. It would be around about here. This is where we would get the bounce. I think the bounce would take us somewhere around over here, which would be roughly $34,000. And I just want to see how well that aligns with the Ichimoku Cloud on the 4-hour time frame, where I described a little bit of resistance. This is where we would start to get resistance roughly if I draw this circle a little bit. If I just move this circle over here, this is where we would start to find resistance. And so, you know, potentially trading this up to $34,000, $35,000, something like that, I think would make a lot of sense to start finding some resistance if we do get that dead cat bounce. So I hope that answers your question. Looking at around the 35k level. And by the way, when I talk about low risk trade setups, that is one that I would actually consider trading around over here, going short at these kind of levels, this previous area of support turning into a new area of resistance. Look at this, right? If we dump down to about 30k, come back up to this level at about 35k, right? If I show this to you on a different chart, on the Gemini, I'm sorry, is it the Bitstamp chart? No, I haven't drawn it anywhere. The descending triangle support was somewhere around over here, which puts us at roughly $34,000. You know, rising up anything like this from 30k all the way up to 34, potentially up to 35. These are two key rejection zones for Bitcoin, in my opinion, right now. Because look, we established resistance on the way up, we established support on the way down, so we traded with this area quite a lot, and so it would make perfect sense if it flips into resistance. This is quite classic page 1 technical analysis theory. It happens absolutely all the time. In fact, we can see it happening. Look, we established support over here, then it was resistance, right? Then we fell below it, then it was support, then we fell below it. We didn't actually find much resistance here, but we ended up finding support on the way back down again. And so I definitely think that on the way back up, we could find resistance, just like we did the first time around. And so like 34k up to 35k, these are the two levels that I think Bitcoin could end up getting rejected at, and then potentially trading lower, and it would look something a little bit like this. And I think this would make a lot of sense in the market. I think this would be really, really healthy. I would be very, very happy with that. 1,200 viewers in the live stream today. Thank you all very much. Why is my voice so deep? I'm not too sure. I used to pray for a sexy voice. I'm not joking. I used to be very religious, and I used to pray for a very, very nice voice around age 12, and I got it. So there we go. FORFLIES actually meant with the candles closed for it to drop below that for when you'd enter the short. I still don't understand though, Ben. I mean, you know, broadly speaking, I don't really care about candle closes. I don't pay too much attention to them. So I still wouldn't look at them. I would just be interested in, does the price fall down to these levels? Yes or no? If yes, buy. If no, there's nothing for me to do. So that's my take on this. MARA is a Bitcoin mining stock. Thank you for reading my question. A lot of the money you can make to be made, you can imagine. It follows Bitcoin very closely. Okay, that's interesting. Still don't want to look at it though, because I haven't done any research on it, so I'm not, like, I can't just, usually I try to avoid analyzing things I've never heard of before, because I just won't be able to do a good job, and I'd be doing you a disservice. Is it good to short now? I'm a kid. Yes, if you're a kid, you can't, and it might be too dangerous for you. So I would say be very, very careful. Don says I should have prayed more. I think I'm okay. I think the sexy voice is sexy enough. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry, we have a kid here. Yeah, listen, it's dangerous, right? Like, I don't know how old you are. I started out when I was like 16, and I lost a lot of money, so it might be worth waiting. It depends. If you want to start early, play with some paper money. You know, don't risk real money yet. How do you feel about long-term holding of Litecoin? No feelings. I don't hold any Litecoin. I don't hold anything long-term apart from Bitcoin, actually. I hold a functional amount of Ethereum, just enough to trade with and move money around, but and just functional amounts of other coins, other sponsors and things like that. But really, broadly speaking, I'm not interested in holding anything like Litecoin, because I am a trader first and foremost, and I do, you know, I use a very, very brash analogy. Liam, this is where you need to leave the chat. I do, as I love to say, still have a pair of balls. I'm still active. I'm still alive. I'm still a young man. I don't need to sit there with just you know, just holding my dick in my hand, waiting for something interesting to happen with investments. Now, like, I'm actively going out to get it on this battlefield of trading, and that's what I find to be fun and I don't find it to be fulfilling. To be fair, no one finds trading fulfilling, but if anything close to that, that's what I find to be fulfilling with trading. And so I don't like holding anything, right? Like, I'm just trading to accumulate more Bitcoin and then ride that wave up while I keep trying to accumulate more Bitcoin. So here we go. Shout out to Godfamily TA. This is a new person to crypto, new to the crypto game, ready to get the party started. Always use protection, always use a stop loss, always exercise good risk management, trade with less money than you think you should trade with, and then trade with even less so that you don't stand to lose much money. TC says he wish he could eat my voice. I've never heard that one before, but I'm not surprised. Daniel, FORFLIES, how likely is it that we'll consolidate around the 30k level instead of dumping down to the mid 20k level? Well, Daniel, I don't think that's very likely because, as I said earlier on in the live stream, we didn't establish much resistance over here, but we already tested this level as support quite a bit. And so I think that this is like that situation of you've got a weak camel that wasn't really tested in its childhood, so it didn't really grow thick bones or anything like that. It was weak right from the beginning, and we keep piling more and more straws onto it. So I think that this genuinely could be the last straw, and for that reason I don't think it's likely that we're going to consolidate at 30k and then trade back up. If we do, it would be very, very nice, and I would absolutely love that. It would be just as good as dumping down. However, I wouldn't place my bets on that right now, because the other thing we need to consider in this market right now is that people don't have a genuine reason to buy Bitcoin because Bitcoin isn't going up. And until and unless Bitcoin is going up, people are not going to be interested in buying Bitcoin. It's just the fact that people will want to jump on the bandwagon, right? No one wants to be the contrarian and buy when there's blood in the streets. They want to buy when there is a bandwagon to jump onto, and they can ride a wave and they can ride a trend. And so that's what we have right now. Sorry, that's what we don't have right now with Bitcoin. And for that reason, I don't think we're going to be looking at getting some consolidation here and then trading up. I don't even think we're going to get a bounce because, like I said, I think penetrate this level quite quickly, and I think there's still a lot of potential for fear to set in this market. It's entirely possible that I'm wrong, and that's why I'm not trading this, but for now, I don't think we're going to consolidate. If we do, then I absolutely think that that could be enough, but I don't think the likelihood is high for that because, like I said, this camel, its back just wasn't well formed. It wasn't tested in its childhood. It didn't grow a strong body. This one right here, this camel got a lot of rejections throughout its history. There was a lot of resistance that we found over this level for 8 days, which at the time was a very long time, guys. If you watch this live, this was a long time to wait for the trend, especially in a parabolic uptrend. And I think for that reason, it makes the case for finding support down here very strong. So those are my thoughts right there. FORFLIES, don't you think we're creating a descending triangle right now? Yes, we are, Sergi. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier on in the video. And we had 2 descending triangles. We already broke one of them, but here was the first one. It looked something a little bit like this, and we're trading in yet another one right now. So yes, we do have 2 descending triangles. We're still in one right now. Absolutely, yes. I was talking about that earlier on in the live stream. So if you missed that, please don't. Please go back and watch more of the live stream. FORFLIES, do you think this very long consolidation could surprise everyone just bouncing on 30k and then continuing up? Yeah, it's always possible it's going to surprise everyone. Always, always, always. However, that's the nature of a surprise. So I have no comment on that. I absolutely think it could surprise everyone. And again, that's why I'm not trading this right now. I have strong opinions on what's going to happen, but I don't have money behind it, right? You don't need to put money behind every idea. I only put money behind ideas when I'm absolutely 100% sure, and I'm not 100% sure about this right now. So I'm just not going to trade this, and I'm just going to sit in Bitcoin and keep my holdings, and that's it. So yes, I think there's entirely the possibility of a big bounce that blows everyone away, but more likely than that, I think we will just get a bounce and bounce up for a dead cat bounce, hit some resistance levels, and because we already have weakness in this trend and we're already in a short-term downtrend, I think that as soon as we do get that bounce, there is going to be a rejection around the 34 to 35k resistance levels, which also lines up with downward trending resistance. And so there's a lot of reason to be bearish in this market right now, in my opinion, and I do think that it means things could get pretty bad. Question from Brianna, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. What does bull market mean? Bull market means the market is trending up. We've got two main types of markets. There is a bull market where the price is trending up, and there is a bear market. These are both different animals, bears and bulls, where the price is trending down. And it's named after the animals, the way these two animals attack. Bears will stand up. One of the ways bears will attack is they'll stand up on their 2 feet and claw downwards. So bear market moving down, and bulls will take their horn and move it up like that and attack in that way. And so it's just like that. It's that standard up movement, market moving up. That's why we call them bull and bear markets. Don, I meant I should have prayed for my own voice. You still have time, brother. God is always there for us. Hope that answers your questions there. We had some very good questions there. 3 really, really good questions. Once again, if you're just tuning in now, please do smash up that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We are well on our way to 63,000 subscribers. Very, very close to it. So if we can hit that today or tomorrow, that would be really, really cool. You guys on YouTube promoted too many altcoins. I very rarely talk about altcoins, so you've got the wrong guy here. I hate most altcoins, like with a passion. Like, I enjoy hating them. So I'm not your guy, unfortunately. Go take that hate somewhere else. FORFLIES, for those holding and waiting for the shakeout to end, when do you think this dump may end and a healthy upward trend start again? Well, I don't know for time frames, but as soon as we cut deep enough, I think that's when, you know, and so potentially falling to some of these key levels will help us, some of these key support levels. I don't know when it could happen. It could happen tomorrow, it could happen in 2 weeks, but I don't think it's going to take longer than 2 or 3 weeks, and then we will continue the uptrend. And that's what I'm thinking. Should I swap ETH into BTC? I can't answer that question for you, but like I said, I only hold functional amounts of Ethereum, and the main thing I hold is Bitcoin because I think it's a safer thing to hold. I do think Ethereum will go up a lot more than Bitcoin, but before Ethereum goes up, it will keep getting destroyed harder than Bitcoin. And so actually, Ethereum, while it should be outperforming Bitcoin, still is not. It outperforms Bitcoin in isolated bursts on occasion, but broadly speaking, Ethereum has been trending a lot worse than Bitcoin for the past couple of months. And so actually holding Bitcoin has been the only good, safe, it's not a safe bet, but the only good, safe bet and profitable one. Liam is Bitcoin. I thought I told you to go, Liam. I feel really awkward you watching these videos, but I mean, you know, you're a kid on YouTube. I was hearing stupid stuff since I was a kid on YouTube too. This is normal for us. Is Bitcoin going to 100,000 this year? I certainly hope so, and I certainly think it's possible, but it's not something for me to comment on because, as you can tell, my analysis is very short term, so that isn't really my area of expertise, and it's not a question that I tackle because it doesn't help me with my actual trades. So I'm very, very focused on what I do, and for that reason, I never consider questions like, is Bitcoin going to go to 100K? Because truth is, I don't care, and I'm not smart enough to answer that question either. If you want to hear questions about Bitcoin going to 100K, there are many, many more much smarter YouTubers than me who talk about questions like that, so you shouldn't even listen to me about that. Justin saying thank you. You're very, very welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Shirley, have you sold Bitcoin to buy back later? No, I haven't. Do you trade down to make up the loss, please? I also explained why I don't trade it down. I might change my mind on that if the market looks safer, but at the moment I haven't done anything with this downtrend because I just don't think it's worth exiting my Bitcoin positions either, because I think Bitcoin has a very high likelihood of trading right back up above this previous all-time high. Like I said, I would assign the probability of this market entering a long-term bear market right now. I think the probability of Bitcoin doing that and trading really, really low for a very, very long time, I think that probability is less than 5%. So I absolutely have a very, very strong inclination that Bitcoin is going to rise back up to its previous all-time high and breach it and then hit 50K. I think it's going to happen very soon, like in the next month or so. So I'm not even worried about it. Steven, how will the 5x, 10x crazy alt season get triggered? What setup should we look to start buying alts if we want to take full advantage of it? Hit the like, guys. There's over 1,000 of you. So there we go. Let's listen to Steven. Over 1,000 of us in this video. So if we can smash up that like and subscribe if you haven't already, that would be greatly appreciated. And how will this alt season get triggered? So I don't buy altcoins, as I said. I'm not an altcoin holder. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. I think it's risky, and I've been 100% correct about that lately. Because if you look at, here's a random one. This is a well-respected coin, Cardano, right here. Very, very well-respected coin. And just if you look at this, this is against Bitcoin. It has performed absolutely terribly against Bitcoin, right? August or July is when did we bottom out with the current trend? We bottomed out in April, March of 2020, and since July, since Q2, Q3, Cardano has just kept on losing value against Bitcoin. It's been really, really bad for Cardano. In fact, it nearly halved since July. It's been doing absolutely terribly. In fact, it fell to a third of where it was in July. It's been doing absolutely terribly against Bitcoin, and Bitcoin itself has been rising. So, altcoin holders across the board have been getting destroyed in this market, and even though they might get 10x gains now, they'll still be behind where I am right now. And so my approach with these altcoins going up is simply to trade them in short bursts with leverage. And I've been outlining my plans in a lot of detail for that recently. The big things I'd be doing is with these kind of lines right here, potentially trading a long position if we fall down to this kind of level, potentially trading a long position off this bull flag. I'm also looking at coins like Link. I think there's real potential to trade these links with short-term moves, to trade these coins with short-term moves, but at no circumstance would I ever look at holding investments in these coins, because I think they're very, very risky and they just don't pay off as well as Bitcoin. So they have a lot of the risk, but not nearly as much of the reward. And so I'm completely uninterested in them. I do trade these altcoins quite a bit. I even trade YFI, which is another one that some people have been asking me to look at. This one has been moving really, really well. It's actually been a very, very interesting trend. I think it's in a pretty bad shape right now, though, but it's definitely an interesting one to trade. And so I do trade a bunch of coins, but I trade them on the short term, and this is something that VIP members see me doing, because, guys, the package with VIP, the deal you're getting with VIP is access to the information on absolutely every trade I'm making. I'm telling you what I'm considering doing, why I'm considering it, where I'll be entering, where I'll be taking profits, all in real time, so that you can see how I'm trading. And I've developed my trading style after getting absolutely destroyed in these markets, losing a lot of money continuously, really, really suffering inside of these markets, but then coming back to it, attacking it, and just playing it by the book, doing it very, very safely, and developing what I consider now to be a very safe strategy for trading, which focuses on compounding profits so that I come out ahead in the long term. It sounds very cliche, but that's the only way I've found success. Obviously, lately, because the strategy is so well refined, it does hit big numbers, like this guy over here showing me plus 75%, this guy over here showing me plus 110%. I've seen a lot of triple-digit trades lately, and that's great. If they come, I'm not going to say no to them, but my biggest priority is always to make sure that I am taking advantage of the market and just compounding these profits as well. By the way, I see that my assistant is online and he's responded to every single one of you if you've asked about VIP. So there's a lot going on inside of VIP, and if you want to gain access to this information, then you can follow these steps right here. There are a lot of ways I could have advertised VIP. There's the straight up flexing way, showing you my fast cars and stuff like that. I just, by the way, bought a Ferrari here in Dubai, but the way I'm focusing on is always that educational route, because there's one way to sell products, which is just showing you, hey, look, I'm really rich, but there's the other way of showing you, hey, look, I have the expertise. And in this case, I have gone through those highs and lows. I have crashed, and I have lost a shitload of money, and I've lost all of my money and then put more in and then lost it all again. I know how it all works, and what you see now inside of VIP is the result of me getting myself out of that mess and trading now in what I consider to be a very safe way, where our members in VIP consider a $6,000 gain to be a disappointment. I mean, like, it's just the best thing ever. Expectations are super, super high, and VIP members have been killing it. I'm so proud. This guy, by the way, mentioned that I changed his life. He says it down here. Finally found what I want to do in life, and then in a later message he mentioned that I've also changed his life as well, which is just amazing, absolutely amazing, really, really cool. This person just making his first trades after joining, right? We have people who are very new to the game doing really, really well. So very, very cool messages to be receiving right here. But let's take it back to the charts one final time, though. If you do want to get the information on how to join, then the steps are on screen right now for you. let's just go through some more of your questions. I'm going to stay on for a little bit longer and then probably head off. Not too sure how much longer I'm going to be doing today, but we're up to an hour and a half and it's been absolutely great. So thank you to every single one of you for joining me today. FORFLIES, I'm in a long position, but when liquidation price is very low, I don't know what to do. I can't tell you what to do either, brother. Oh, but yeah, so what I just said over the past few minutes is my strategy for trading these altcoins. I will not buy them to invest. I will just trade them in the short term and make quick gains on them and then get out because I think they're very, very risky. All right, buy Bitcoin now or wait to see if it dips more? I'm a holder. I don't know. I'm not really an investor. I couldn't say. I think Bitcoin will drop lower though. How much for my Porsche? I'm not selling my Porsche, mate. No chance. I still love my Porsche more than my Ferrari. Way more. And it's the baby Porsche. It's only the Boxster, but it's the 718 Boxster, so it's the new one. But the Porsche is better than the Ferrari. I'm sorry. It's the Ferrari is loud and it's like, you know, it's show-offy and stuff like that. But as far as a proper good driving experience goes, the Porsche is it. It really is. What else have we got for questions today? Do I value order blocks? No, I don't. Although I know that they're probably really good. I'm seeing more of your messages for VIP, by the way. My assistant is still here handling your messages. If we have any other questions, please do drop them. I see a few of them, so I'll just go through them now. What's my assistant saying? Okay. CME gap at 9400. I don't think we're going down that low. What leverage do I usually use on my trades? I use 10 times leverage most of the time, between 5 and 10 times, which is still pretty risky. That's still quite a lot. That means I'm amplifying my risk by 5 or 10 times. So you can't take that lightly. That's why 500 times, like you're amplifying your risk by 500 times. Like, isn't your risk fucking high enough as it is? You know what I mean? But some people just want more. I don't get it. But yeah, no, I mean, like 5-10 times is what I tend to use. FORFLIES, you make great calls. Thank you very much. Are you planning your next trade or are you in one now? I'm not in a trade right now. I have plans for my next trades and I'll be sharing all of that information inside of VIP though. So those are not the kind of things that I talk about in these videos because that information is reserved for VIP members. What else have we got in the comment section today? Any good roads, any good twisty roads for driving in Dubai? Dubai is a very, very small state, so no, not that I've found. And there are speed cameras everywhere. And I actually got in trouble with the police shortly after getting my Ferrari. They're pretty like extreme about speeding, so you don't want to speed too much here. There is Jebel Jais, which is a mountain in the north of the UAE, in the north of the country, near the border with Oman. And Jebel Jais, that mountain, has some absolutely beautiful roads. So go there around sunrise on a weekday, and you're going to have a lot of opportunity to throw a car around. Don't respect the speed limits. I always drive by the speed limits, but if you want to have a fun twisty road, that's the best one I've found. Although unfortunately, I've only found one so far, and it is about an hour and a half out of the city. Can you leverage trade in the United States? Depends where you are. In New York, always the answer is no. The rest of the US and most of Canada as well, I believe the answer is yes on certain exchanges. A lot of the members inside of VIP that I know of and a lot of the traders I know of who are in the US, they just use a VPN to connect to their exchanges, and they use the same ones I'm linking in the description. US members, they typically use Bybit. It's the second exchange link in the description if I'm not mistaken. They just connect to these exchanges with VPNs. It works, but I can't endorse that because obviously it's your decision to make. But yeah, a lot of traders that I know in the US, they use a VPN and they trade on leverage. FORFLIES, what do you think of the chart? Gone up over $1,000 since you started. This doesn't matter to me, man. $1,000 right now is like, let me just measure this to make a point real quick. So $1,000, 30,000 up to 31,000 is what? It's a 3% move. You know, like 3% is a standard fluctuation. That'll happen during lunch. You know what I mean? So this hasn't changed my opinion at all. If I really had to analyze this, then it looks like we ended up getting a small bounce, and that's it. But I mean, it could be that dead cat bounce. It could just be noise, and then we end up traveling lower, right? You know, like $1,000 is nothing. I don't have an opinion on this. Intuition Guided saying thanks. Well, thank you as well. You're very, very welcome. Would I ever buy the new Tesla series, Tesla Model S Plaid Edition? No, because I had a Model S, and I had the P100D. At the time, I was actually the youngest owner of a P100D in the UK, and I had a headache every day because it was so fast. I just had a whiplash headache constantly. So I think I suffered some brain damage from that car. So no, I won't get the Model S. I will get the Roadster because it's going to be fucking amazing, but that's it. How many days roughly till we hit a bottom do I expect? I don't know. I answered this question a few minutes ago. I think could be like could happen in a few days, could happen in a few weeks. Really, I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be longer than 30 days. I know that's not the answer you wanted, but you know, realistically, I don't think there's a way I can answer that. What I do know right now is that this market has a bit of fear in it, and it can have more fear quite quickly, and that could mean we drop quite quickly. That could mean that we're down to the low within the next week, and I think that would make a lot of sense. Any books I recommend? There are links to 2 books in the description down below. If you look at the description with me right now, the first one is called Technical Analysis of the Financial Markets. This book is great for beginners. The second one is called Market Wizards, which is my all-time favorite book for trading ever, and this book is only to be read if you have experience in trading already. So don't read it if you're new. It's not going to be useful to you, but if you've been trading for at least like 6 months, at least 1 year, that book will be absolutely amazing for you. What else have we got today? So those are some of the core questions. Let me just go back to my main analysis because I actually didn't finish it yet, and I want to cover some of those things with you right now. Ethereum, zooming out, the uptrend still in line. So yeah, the other final thing to be showing you for Ethereum as well before I start wrapping up this live stream is that it was trading in an uptrend, and it still is in that uptrend as well. By the way, guys, I'm actually considering doing more regular live streams that are potentially you know, I could do even like 2 videos a day during market cycles like this. Let me know if that's something you would enjoy in the comment section right now. I haven't asked you guys that yet, but if that is something that you think you might enjoy, then please do let me know. I'm seeing your questions about VIP as well, by the way, so if you are interested, you can reach out by following these steps on screen. How do I feel about the Biden administration and crypto? You know, anytime there's a Democrat party or anything that's leaning left, I would be bearish on the currency of the country. And to be fair, it's not even down to politics. It's just the country, the US, is heading to shit, and so is nearly every other Western country, in my opinion. So I'm just bearish on their currencies, and I think that that's going to mean things like crypto go up because crypto are hedges, and they're currently in uptrends anyway. And the use case for Bitcoin, for example, keeps getting made more and more accurate and loud. Like the use case keeps becoming louder in this market every time a Western government fucks up even more. Actually, not just the Western government, any government. So that's my opinion there. Could be Biden, could be Trump. They'll both fuck it up. Phil, thanks for your help. We'd love you to do more like 2 videos a day. Yeah, I'm really considering it, so I might try it relatively soon. For those in the US, I'd recommend using Proton. This is someone's comment. I'm not recommending this. I never make recommendations, but someone's commented here saying for those in the US, I'd recommend using Proton VPN and using the kill switch. A kill switch is a key. It means if the VPN drops, it drops all network connections to your app, so your true IP won't show. Very, very smart. Proton VPN sounds like a good one. NordVPN I know is also good. So there's a lot of options for you if you need to find the VPN. I would recommend, I don't make recommendations, but I think it's always a good idea to go for a VPN which you pay for, but it's only going to be like $2, right? And so that's a really small cost to be paying. Little Men mentioning that he's already read the 2 books in the description. Amazing. I'm sure you love them. Actually, you said you loved them, so that's great. Yeah, you said that they were awesome. They are really, really good books. What else have we got in the comments? Is a new all-time high on Ethereum still possible in 1 to 3 months? Chris, I think a new all-time high on Ethereum could be in within like 2 weeks. So yes, I absolutely think that's possible. Whoa. FORFLIES, any advice for poor souls watching the minute chart in order to keep the eyes open? What advice, man? First of all, no advice. But second of all, if you're watching the minute chart, go get a fucking life, man. Go like find a girlfriend or something. Like do something productive with your life. Like the minute chart is not going to make you rich, I can tell you that. And I know this because I used to do it, right? The reason you would analyze the minute chart is because you can't make money in other ways and you think that you're doing something wrong and you think that by doing more, you're going to make more. And that would work in any industry, right? If you're a lawyer, if you're an accountant, if you're whatever, and you just put more hours in, you will make more money. But not in trading. Absolutely not in trading. The more time you spend on analyzing and trading, the more you are going to mess up your psyche. There is no way around it. So you know, the only thing I'd say is like in the nicest way possible. Look, we're not here to take offense, right? I'm just trying to be efficient. I'm just trying to get the point across. Get a life, do something, join the gym, whatever. Like, you know, do something that's a little bit more productive than watching the chart every minute, because there's no way you're gonna win doing that. I mean, you know, first of all, the main reason is you're competing against bots, right? It's the bots and the algorithms that dominate these smaller time frames, and you're trying to compete with algorithms that can do, you know, like 1 trillion times faster calculations that you can in your mind. There's no way that you're going to win. But the longer term charts, those are much more influenced by psychology of humans. So you only need to be better than the next guy if you're doing long-term analysis. But if you're doing very, very short-term analysis, analyzing the minute time frames, and you're really, really zooming in, and you're getting your bloody magnifying glass out and looking at what's going on, you are competing with bots, and it's losing games. So, you know, like my advice, if I were to ever give any, is to do something more productive with the rest of your life, and you will see that your trading will get better. I know it's not conventional, but I'm saying this because I've been there, and this is what I did, and it worked for me. My voice is starting to hurt because I've been talking for nearly 2 hours straight, so I'm gonna end this soon. Mustafa asking for the books again. Please just read the description, and I've given you the links to them. End of year BTC prediction, no idea, Tom. I'm sorry, I couldn't say because I don't do long-term analysis on any of these coins. Literally, it could be at like $2,000 or it could be at $200,000, and it wouldn't make a difference to me. Obviously, I think it's more likely to be, you know, like over 100K, but you know, I really don't know, and it's not something I would comment on. Smash up the likes for daily live streams. Let's go ahead and do that. Phil asking for daily live streams. Not the first time he's asked for it as well, actually. I love doing these live streams. They're very, very fun for me. Obviously, I get to talk to you guys one-to-one. It's really, really cool. If you're new to the channel, please also subscribe. We are absolutely killing it inside of this market. So if you want more live streams like this, Nick mentioning the live stream is dynamite, more please. I absolutely will do more. What I'm thinking of is kind of like one video early on in the day and then a second live stream where I dive really, really deep into those topics. And I think that you guys would probably enjoy that. And I won't do it every day, but on days where it's busy, absolutely, I think it's a good idea. So those are my thoughts there. Is the Bitcoin dumping to 25, 26K? I think that would make a lot of sense, Ellis. Yeah, I would love that. I don't know if it's happening, but I think it would make sense. Once crypto settles down, you're in the best place in the world. Get you to the Burj Al Arab and enjoy those gains. Yeah, absolutely, Paul. I think it's already probably one of the best places in the world right now. Dubai is heading into a lockdown again, although they're very quiet about it in the media. But I think this is an absolutely great place to be in the world. I think they're very grounded and realistic compared to the West. And it's a breath of fresh air because things are getting pretty crazy in countries like the UK and US. Have I ever done any side hustles before? Brianna, yeah, my whole teenage childhood phase was side hustles. Yeah. In fact, trading started out being a side hustle for me. It's the only thing I've ever done. Never even had a real job. I guess everything is a side hustle to fitness for me right now in life. Fitness is obviously the top priority because if you're not healthy, then you've got nothing. Everything's a side hustle. You think it will go down even further in the next days? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Please go back and watch this live stream from the beginning to get my full thoughts on that. But yes, absolutely, I do. Greetings from the Netherlands. Nice to meet you, Kevin. Thank you for joining us today. I love the Netherlands. I love driving there. I've been there quite a few times. Always an interesting time. Obviously, I'm British, so I'm just going to Amsterdam. But it's absolutely great there. Crypto Kirby 2.0, I am honored that you would say something like that. That's absolutely amazing. What's my daily routine? I wake up, I go to the office, probably smoke shisha, and yeah, sleep. I don't know, pretty simple. Pretty simple stuff, you know, like it's a normal routine. That's normal days. I don't know. Meet up with friends and stuff. I don't really have a routine. Can women drive in Dubai? Yes, they can. And they can drive in Saudi Arabia now as well. You'll be shocked, especially talking to the women watching this live stream right now, how, I don't know what to say, modern or just how normal they treat women here. And actually, as a woman who's lived in the West, coming here, you will find that you're respected more in a country like the UAE. You won't get creeps hitting on you and stuff like that because men just have to respect women more. If you don't, there are quite serious consequences. You're never ever gonna... I'd like to see someone catcall a woman in Dubai, you know, like he'll get beat up by like 5 other Arabic dudes in like 5 minutes. So I wish it was hashish. It's not, just regular shisha. But yeah, women are completely safe here. They're respected much more than in the West. And yes, they can drive. They've got equal rights in the day-to-day stuff. It's still kind of like traditional in things like marriage or whatever. But you know, do your research. But women get good treatment here. Yeah, 100%. You know, doors held open for you. You know, guys will move out of your way when you're walking in hallways, just out of respect. Women get that respect. That's just natural, right? So yeah, there's a lot of that. What would you say is the income requirement to live in Dubai? How hard is it to get a visa? It's not hard at all. And the income requirement, if you're making more than like 10,000 dirhams a month, 2k GBP, 2,000 a pound, roughly 3k, 2.5k US per month, you're good. Like that's really good. Like you'll be super comfortable. You don't have to ball out and go to downtown Dubai and buy bottles and stuff every day. If you just want a normal quiet life, you're really comfortable at like 10k dirham per month. Oh, it says my Wi-Fi is down. I've had a bit of a connection issue, so please let me know if I'm back online now. I hope everything is okay. It only happened for 1 second. What else have we got? If you've got any final questions, I'll take them, but I am going to be wrapping up this one relatively soon. It's been an absolute pleasure, and if you are already, if you haven't already, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. We're very close to 63,000 subscribers, so please do so if you haven't already. My favorite time frame to analyze, I've got 3. It's the 1 hour time frame, it's the 4 hour time frame, and the 1 day time frame. I feel like that gives me a very good balance between short-term and long-term analysis. Those are the main ones I use, mainly 4 hour and 1 hour, because I analyze daily. And so it requires you know, like these shorter time frames, they give me more data. Although I should mention, Spot Joss, yes, this is live. I should mention though actually that while I do analysis daily, I don't actually spend a lot of time. So if I wasn't making these YouTube videos, I would be spending less than 5-10 minutes a day on trading and analyzing, because you know, there's just not a lot that happens, and a lot of the time I'm just waiting for certain conditions to be met. This is going back in line with the same principles I told you about with how religious I am with the trades I choose to enter and things like that. I'm very particular about these things, and as a result, I don't trade every single day, and that is a big part of why I'm protected from losses and how I'm able to compound the gains that I'm in this market. And so it is absolutely a very big point for me to make sure that that I am actually not overanalyzing. You know, like that person asked me about the 1 minute time frame analysis. You know, like I'm never doing that. I don't need to look at the chart too much. And actually what I do, you know, realistically on a daily basis is I have the price of Bitcoin on my phone, and every time I open my phone, I also check the price of Bitcoin for 1 second, and that's it, you know. So collectively it might add up to like 5 minutes of analysis, but all I'm doing is looking at the price on my phone and just seeing, did we reach any interesting levels yet? And obviously the answer is almost always no, because an interesting level for now would be like $30,000 or $35,000 or $42,000, you know. So there's no, like, and we haven't done any of that recently, so there's just not a lot for me to look at. And as a result, I don't need to do anything, because when the market is moving, that's where I don't really need to do anything. I will only position myself to enter the market before it makes its move, and then I'll go silent again. You know, like, that's what trading is. There's absolutely, like, this idea of sitting in front of the computer all day and analyzing all day, it doesn't fucking work as a trader. Like, it just doesn't work. If you sit there all day and you try to analyze and you try to conduct analysis all day as a trader, you're just going to be digging a deep, deep hole of shit for yourself. It just doesn't work. You know, the longer you spend trading, the longer you spend analyzing, you will almost always see, if you test this and you stop spending a lot of time on this, you will almost always see that your income in trading will go up. And it's the same thing I saw as well. And it's simply because there's no need to be over analyzing. So practically speaking, and almost all of our successful VIP members will probably tell you the same thing. They don't need to spend a lot of time analyzing or trading this market anymore, simply because there's not a lot to do. They have their plans predefined. I tell VIP members my plans as well. All of my plans are always predefined. Nothing ever takes me by surprise. Super rare. Things do take me by surprise sometimes, but it's super rare, because I have plans already defined. And so all I need to do is wait until the market fulfills those plans and then update them. And that means it's very relaxed. So a lot of the time when I'm in profits, they just happen and I'm not even aware of it, because my plan was already there, my orders were already set, the plan was automatically executed by my exchange of choice, and all I have to do is sit back and calculate how much profit I want to take, or how I want to navigate a loss and, you know, prevent it from happening again and things like that, because obviously losses do happen as well. Very important, and I think that's a big part of why I've been able to get this kind of success so quickly and compound these gains. And that's why these VIP members are doing so well as well when they watch me doing what I do. So once again, the information is on screen if you want to join VIP. I'm going to take some final questions and then head off relatively soon. Anime workers, which cryptocurrency should I buy? I have 500 euros and I'm new to this scene. I can't tell you what to do, bro. I only hold Bitcoin, as I said. You know, like, I think it's the only one that's worth holding. If you're new to this space, the only thing I would suggest is to invest in education and buy courses or ebooks. Not even mine. Just go find something, right? So that you can learn what's going on and you can do things safely. That's always the top priority in my opinion, but not everyone's like me, so it's fine. Very strict behavior, that's the winning rules. Absolutely agree with you, man. Absolutely agree. Yes, strict behavior, strict control of your actions is how you will win in these kind of markets. And a lot of people, they just don't have them don't have that on themselves, because you know, people see crypto trading as a lottery ticket. And that's fine, or it's not fine, but it's understandable how it happens, because it looks so easy to make money, but it's not an excuse for not exercising a good level of due diligence. Great concept about time. Thank you very much. FORFLIES, would you buy a clear breakthrough from this triangle, or would you try to time the bottom like at 27k? I'd probably look at the bottom. If, however, Bitcoin did somehow rise above this level over, oh, that's annoying. If Bitcoin did somehow rise above this level right here, I would definitely be back in the market. I would definitely buy quite strong and trade the long side. I'd be very interested in trading Bitcoin up if we reach this level, and more importantly, if we break the level and get somewhere around here. This is where I would definitely be very aggressive back in the market. Yeah, 100%. Good question. Very good question. Do I have Tesla shares? Funny story that. I bought Tesla at $189. I'll never forget this trade. And it was before the stock split. So $180 now is roughly, what, like $33. $189 then is about $33 now. and the position was going really, really well, to the point where the exchange brought up some beef with me and they shut down my account. Or they threatened to shut down my account, rather. I removed everything in that account before they shut it down, but they really, really didn't like me, and it was because of that position. So they made me close that position. I opened it at $189. I could have ran it up to like $2,000, but and my plan was to run it up to like $1,000. In fact, my plan was to sell it when I turned 18, and it was at like, I don't know, $400 at that point. But they just forced me to shut it. So no, I don't hold anything anymore, unfortunately. FORFLIES, so set the trade and leave it to itself. Pretty much, man. Yeah. Like I said, my plan is already set. All I need to do is I need to set the orders, and then I forget about them. I come back and I update the analysis if it needs to be updated, but for the most part, it doesn't. And so I'm just kind of waiting for these things to be fulfilled. That's what good trading looks like, and a lot of people don't know that until they join a group like VIP. So yes, that's pretty much what I'm doing. It's more nuanced than that, and there is more that goes into it, but that's the basic crux of it. That's the main gist of what's going on. Is day trading easier in Forex or crypto? You know, like day trading, just to clear this up, day trading means that you're entering multiple trades a day. And that's the same issue that I've been talking about multiple points during this live stream. I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's very risky. I think it's unnecessarily stupid and dangerous. And so I don't think there's ever a good time to be a day trader, whether it's in crypto or Forex. I think that Forex would probably be safer because there's more regulation around day trading, and there's none in crypto. But it's still like, they're both really stupid ideas in my opinion. You know, like being a day trader is only a lifestyle to advertise to other people, you know, because it's sexy, sitting in front of the monitors making a shitload of money, and then you're 21 with a Lamborghini. You know, like it's something to sell. It's exciting. It's a brand. It's a lifestyle to sell. But day trading for real is in my opinion stupid and dangerous and unnecessary. Like I said, I could play the flex game if I wanted to, but you know, like I've always taken the approach of showing you expertise and proving consistency over the long run when I try to sell the educational resources we have and different things like that. Like the flex game is easy. Live in Dubai now, just moved my mom here as well, you know, like flex game can be done, but it's not about that, you know, like it's not about the lifestyle and stuff like that. It's about learning how to trade really, really well so that you can replicate these results for yourself. At what age did I gain big? So I'm 19 now. I started to get pretty big at about 17. 17 was also when I bought my Porsche, and then I got my Ferrari like 2-3 weeks ago. That was pretty fun. FORFLIES as a newbie, thanks for the advice. You're very, very welcome, man. I'm really glad it helped you. Can this stop loss be skipped? No, I don't think so, man. Like, would you not wear your seatbelt in the car? You know, this is non-negotiable in my opinion. Yeah, it can be skipped. Technically, anyone can skip it. Anyone can decide not to wear their seatbelt, but it's that essential. You know, like always go into a trade with protection. It's the most obvious thing to me in the world. I would never ever break that rule. Do I set buy limits? Yes, I do. NATO, welcome to the live stream. Please go back. The live stream's nearly over, and watch the replay of it. You're not going to be missing anything. Don't worry. FORFLIES, can you draw the lines of the big rising wedge Bitcoin was in prior? I think it's pretty interesting that Bitcoin bounced on it. Rising wedge? What? Where is the rising wedge? I don't see it, bro. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I tried to spend 1 hour a day, and it's almost impossible. I'm too fixated at the moment. Yeah, a lot of people do spend a lot of time on this, but I really don't. You know, like once you get out of the habit, you will see that it's not necessary to do stuff like that. So yeah, big points there in my opinion. FORFLIES, how do you set your stop loss when you're laddering a trade? It's usually possible when you're laddering a trade. Depends what kind of trade. I would cover that information in the tutorials of the exchange, and if you have any questions beyond that, you can reach out on Telegram. Julian, dude, I would be happy to just have my own apartment and dump my boyfriend when Bitcoin dumps. Yeah, you'd probably find that pretty easy with crypto now. That just sounded like a flex. Sky Tank, you know, the fate, you know, here's the thing. I'm a young guy and I've got a good life, and obviously that comes with some ego things too. But the best flexes happen when they're natural, and you don't intend them to be flexes. That's also when they can also be dangerous. But you know, like these things just kind of happen by accident, just because my life is that way. But the main things I'll always talk about will be the key educational stuff, because I am a real trader. Like, I am actually trading for real. I'm not selling the lifestyle. That's why I never talk about it in these videos. I only talk about it as a passion thing, because I fucking love cars, and I love living in good weather, and I love living around sane people, and so I talk about that stuff. But it's always, at the end, it's always the index to the main meat and potatoes of these videos, which is all about breaking down what's going on, why it's happened, why it could have been expected, and what the next steps might be, and what it might look like from a trading perspective. And I think those are some really, really important points. Ready Mido 2020. I want to start. Where should I begin? I couldn't tell you. However, what we do have inside of FORFLIES VIP and with the team we have is a bunch of courses and information tailored just to beginners. We have we can give you access into VIP, which will show you exactly how I trade in real time, along with a bunch of other things. But we'll also give you access into one of our courses, and that will run you through absolutely everything there is to know about trading, like doing it the way I do it, from A to Z. And what you can do is go through that course first, and then you can start your VIP membership later. So you pay for all of it today, but we can defer your entry into VIP later, and so you can kind of watch the course first. And a lot of our yearly members, we've had a couple of yearly members join us lately, that's what they tend to do. They will they will join VIP, they will watch our course first, and then they will actually look at what's going on in VIP. They'll do it in that order. Hearing some amazing cars behind me right now. I see a lot of your messages for VIP, so my assistant will get back to you very, very shortly. But yeah, if you are a beginner, like, that's one of the main things we will help you with. We have a lot of, it's not one of the main things, there's a lot that goes into it, but you know, it's a pointless hurdle to get, you know, to lose momentum at. So don't worry about that. We have a lot of content for beginners to make sure that you fully understand absolutely everything that's going on inside of VIP. What gives me a bigger buzz? Driving my Ferrari, making money, or YouTubing? Number one, making YouTube videos, surprisingly. Or actually, it might be tied with driving. It depends on the day. But driving was the first. This is amazing. They're right behind me. So this is right behind me. It's the Dubai Mall. It's the biggest shopping mall in the world, which is a really stupid flex, but I'm sorry, like, everyone who's in my office, I can't have like normal meetings with people because someone has to rev their car and my attention just goes somewhere else. I'm like a goldfish. Honestly, like, you know, like a kid living in Dubai around these cars, having like a supercar of my own, like, I'm just ingrained in that culture. So I have like the worst attention span ever. And I like hearing these cars behind me, they just, like, I just drop everything I do and I look at these cars, and it's the most unprofessional thing ever, but I can't help it. So yeah, Mark, I'm gonna say that giving my driving my Ferrari gives me that biggest buzz. Have I now put everything in fiat to be able to buy cheaper? Nope, haven't done anything at all. Still in Bitcoin. How would you go about learning to become a good trader? When I started out, I couldn't really afford the good stuff that I wanted. I could afford it later, and as soon as I was able to afford it, I jumped into things like my own VIP group. I actually bought Kirby's one, and so that's that's my priority. It would be to invest in education. But when I started out, I couldn't afford that. Literally the only thing I could afford was, because I just like only had maybe like £300 to my name, was like a £10 course on Udemy. And on that note, I'm bringing you something and you're going to love it. So like I said, that's probably going to be around the 75,000 subscriber mark. So please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to be releasing something amazing for you guys. I'm super excited for it. I don't know when it's going to be released. It makes more sense to release it at 100k, but we'll probably do it at 75 to make it a bit quicker. And I've got you covered there. But my first priority, if I was starting out new and I knew what I know now, is to just invest in education, watch other people who are really good at trading trade, so that I can get a feel for what good trading looks like. And the whole idea there is, as a trader, if you're new to the game, you're very likely to lose money, and there's almost zero way to get around that. You know, like it's just bound to happen. It's a guarantee, the way I see it. And so you want to be able to limit how much of that you suffer, and that will, you know, the way I put it is that will shortcut your way to get to where you want to be. You know, like you're right here, and if you start slowly, you will make money, but you're gonna lose a lot of money along the way. It's going to be an absolutely grueling process, and you'll eventually get to where you want to be if you don't quit along the way. And what I'm saying is that by investing in your education, watching other people who you respect trade and things like that, you get to jump the line on that. You get to pay to jump the line on that by investing in your education and then concentrating and things like that. And, you know, like our yearly member who just in 10 months became a crypto millionaire, starting out with 30k USD. You know, that's what he did. He knew nothing about trading. He was a complete beginner, and he got into our FORFLIES VIP group with access into our advanced academy completely free of charge. And that's the same deal that all yearly members get right now. Yearly members will also get phone calls with me as well. That's something that I'm offering now. So it's not one-on-one coaching, to answer your question in the comments, but it is absolutely something similar. I can't offer coaching, but everything we do is fully compliant with the laws. And this is what the VIP member that I'm talking about, he didn't even have these phone calls. I didn't offer it at that time because the price of VIP was a lot lower back then, but he did join VIP with our yearly offer, and he's a businessman. He runs like 6 businesses internationally and things like that. It's absolutely amazing, and he still had time to go through everything as well. So it's you know, like it's not something that's super time consuming, but he took that approach and he shortcutted everything and he got to where he wanted to be. So it's definitely valuable. Joseph, thank you very much for subscribing. Listening to you is a blessing. I don't think I've ever heard that one before. Thank you very much. I don't even know what to say to that. I think you're being too kind to me right now, but thank you. That's an amazing comment to read. Do you believe Bitcoin will continue going down from here, or is it about to bounce back up? I think it'll keep going down. Mega Skaters, have I done any track days? No, but I'm about to. I'm going to do one very soon, and that will be fun. I hope I don't total the car. How far do you think Cardano will drop? Cardano isn't dropping right now, and it is down a little bit, but not too bad. So, you know, like I think the worst it'll go to for the short term is probably down to like the 1,000 Satoshi level, maybe just a little bit lower, like 990, but I don't think it's going to go much lower. All right, I think I'm going to call it a night over here. I really honestly can't talk for much longer. If we can shoot up those likes one more time, I would really appreciate that. Another time, just because I think it's a big point that I don't want to that I want to hit on properly, and I want to, you know, give it justice. The YouTube algorithm recommended this video today to you because it thought you would like it, and these algorithms are super complex. They're usually correct. It's the same reason that competing with algorithms on the shorter term time frames, like I said, on the 1 minute time frame, is completely crazy in my opinion, because these algorithms are smarter than humans. And if they thought you'd enjoy this video, I certainly hope they were correct. If they were correct, please do like the video, please do subscribe, share it with a friend if you can. It really does go a very long way. I'm going to keep making these videos for as long as I can. I love delivering them to you. I love talking to you guys, and I love answering your questions. Your comments are absolutely amazing. So please do keep up that support for me. If you haven't already, please do hit that like button. It's just a click for you, but it does really help me out. And if you haven't already, once again, please do subscribe. So close to 63k. It is a climb, and it is an arduous one, but we are getting there, and we are very close. and it's happening. Yeah. How much time does it take in duration for beginners? Ahmed, we have members in VIP that will go through our content and go from a beginner level to someone who's proficient inside of a week. We have others who will do it inside of 2 days, and we have others who have taken 2 months, and it depends on the pace you want to go at, but we give you everything you need, and from there it's up to you how quickly you want to do it. Where can I view information on the educational stuff you provide? Martin, all of the information on everything I provide, we can give you information on by following these steps. So click on the first link in the description down below, then click on the @FORFLIES button at the bottom of any post in our free FORFLIES Gold Telegram channel, and then click on send message to ask me how to join VIP, to ask me for information on what we offer, and we'll give you absolutely everything. We do everything through this so that you can talk to me directly, and if it's not me, my assistant will respond to your messages as well. So the next, someone asked me the next live stream. I'll make another video tomorrow. And if there is enough content, I will also do a live stream tomorrow as well, because I know that you guys love them. So I think I will start moving to making 2 videos a day, because I have the time and you guys love it. So I think it makes sense to try doing that now. Yeah, but information on everything I offer is right here. Once again, I want to give another shout out to that guy who joined VIP 10 months ago. And now has just turned 30k US into $1 million. That was our yearly member. Another member over here joining us shortly afterwards, his first ever trade since joining us, making a $6,000 profit, something like that, and actually being disappointed by it. This is how hard the bar is raised when people join VIP, doing it safely but still making really, really nice gains, plus 51%, doing it while recovering from coronavirus. Shout out to you. I know you're watching the live stream right now, so this is absolutely amazing. Plus 51% profit, plus 110, plus 75, plus 58, plus 17. Just absolutely smashing it right here, plus 35% profit as well. These are all very, very recent messages I got from VIP members. If you want to see how they pulled it, gain access to what we've got going on, the kind of thing that fuels this channel, and see exactly how I'm trading all behind the scenes, then the information on that is right there. Shout out to LM, like and subscribe, please do. It's been an absolute pleasure. We're over 2 hours for this one as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great, great day. Thank you all for joining. Bye-bye.